And we are live now. Let me make sure. I gotta check it. You know, the part of the live stream where the person starts the live stream and then they have to check it to make sure that we're live. It says live, but when I look at the video, we are. It says waiting. Oh, I think we're good. There we go. We're good. We're live. Cool.
Oh my God. Okay.
Come on, guys. It's Venom, and I'm joined with Shocked and Spider-Man came out. I don't know how to start this.
Man, wait. We didn't even talk of it. How'd you feel, Venom? That's the biggest thing, right? How'd you feel?
Man, wait a minute. So I think it's funny how I saw the movie because it was yesterday I had work. And with me just getting back to America and everything, like I was like, well, you know, I'm back and everything's normal. But at least I get to see Spider-Man. Yeah. So like I put that on my Snapchat and my friends was like, "Oh, you're going to see Spider-Man, whatever, blah blah blah." So I was seeing Spider-Man regardless of if anybody else was going with me.
Yeah.
So, like, I didn't invite anybody. Like I was like, I'm seeing Spider-Man, you know.
Yeah.
I saw it. And actually I had made a review and I put it on YouTube at like 3 a.m, but YouTube cut out like the last 2 minutes of my review, so I took it down. And I was gonna re-upload it, but haven't yet. So I'll re-upload it probably tomorrow. I don't know. But I'm just beating around the bush. I was kind of waiting for more people to get in. But my opinion of the movie, I like. Well, I'm about to beat around the bush a little bit more. So like, you know how we've had discussions.
We have, and that is like, why I was so interested in your takeaway, because like. Even though we had our discussions and I think that it was clear what size we were on, I was starting to veer towards your side a little bit more as the marketing picked up. Did you feel the same way? Because internet wise, everyone was like, this marketing makes this look like, you know, this is just not what the director is selling, if you know what I mean.
I stayed away from the marketing, actually. Like,
I tried my best to, but it's hard.
It is hard. It is hard. And they had a lot. Like, I feel like they had so many clips for this movie.
They did the same shit they did with every other, with the Amazing Spider-Man 2. Like, they put it everywhere. And here's the first 10 minutes of the movie.
Yeah, and then, like, the whole trail. Like, this, I feel like there were 3 trailers, but there are way more than 3 trailers. Like,
yeah.
Like, so I stayed away from everything. After the 3rd trailer, I didn't watch any clips. I didn't watch anything. So like,
that's how I went into Guardians, because after I watched, like, I usually get an idea for things, and with Guardians and for Spider-Man, those two, I was like, I know what you're putting down in this trailer, but I feel like there's more to you.
Right.
And for both of these movies, I'm not sure if you agree with me, but there was much more than meted the eye at that marketing. So I mean, just let's keep stalling, let more people get in here. So I was starting to be skeptical. I was like, I was starting to just scream in my head. Like I even said it in my review. I'm like, you start just throwing these things at yourself. Like, now that he's in the MCU, will they mess up him being a ground hero? Now that Iron Man's in the movie, will Iron Man take up too much screen time? Now that he's in the MCU, will not feel like Spider-Man, what would it feel like? Is the suit too high tech? Is his cast too different? You know what I mean? And you start just going through it because the way that the marketing is kind of selling it. And when I say the marketing is selling, if you watch any of the trailers, it's being marketed not for us, if you know what I mean.
Right.
It's being marketed the way marketing kind of works, a little bit more corporate way. Iron Man is in this movie. He is in the Avengers. Cha-ching, cha-ching. That is what they're looking towards. Action scenes, boom. But that is Sony distributing. And however you feel about Sony in their movies, they distribute things kind of weird. So looking towards a different trailer, like, for example, we can talk about, because I actually went with my dad, my uncle, my sister, my brother. We all went and saw it. And it was a packed house, even for the Thursday screening. when that Black Panther trailer played, I got the atmosphere in that theater as that trailer played, man. It's one of those things, like it just shows the difference between Marvel marketing and Sony marketing, because that Black Panther trailer feels so much more. Not only is it, of course, corporate and we're trying to get to other people, but it's also like, dude, this is just a badass trailer,
Yeah. And the Spider-Man trailers, I mean, it really is exactly what you said. It's come see this movie. Look, Iron Man's in it. It's in the MCU. Like he's in the Avengers. Like
exactly.
Yeah, but I think they did that on purpose, especially with the reputation that the Spider-Man movies and the character.
Yeah, I completely understand it, but okay, wait, let's check the viewers here.
It's past 20, so I mean, I'm
yeah, it is kind of late, so I'm not gonna try like 100 people in here, but so let's get into it. I know that
you can start. You can start if
you want me to start. Okay, I'm just gonna look up what I wrote and say the hot spots, because I wrote, usually when I watch a movie, especially when it's something I'm so passionate about, I do have hot spots. So some of the things that I pointed out, this film will be much like this generation's own Spider-Man 2. What I mean by that is that it's kind of changing the game in terms of what a Spider-Man film has to offer.
Mm-hmm.
And before I even get into the film and all that, diversity, the amount of diversity in this film needs to be praised. It should not have to be gone unspoken.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of blockbusters don't do this. There are, so many colorful faces. New York, like we've talked about before on your stream, is the New York of today and the New York of tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
I love that about it. And the biggest thing, before we even get too nitty gritty, director's vision. My biggest worry for this was they picked a no-name. Is his vision going to strive? Now you can totally feel the executive push from Feige, but his vision is very much there.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of what that director loves and his interpretations of the character are present. I love that, especially how he loves John Hughes films. He loves The Breakfast Club, and you feel it in the movie. I love his direction, specifically in scenes where characters are being more intimate, like when Peter is just sitting around with his classmates and speaking, when Peter is hanging out with Ned, when Peter is talking to Aunt May, specifically, even when we get to the villain interactions, when Peter is in the back seat of the car and he's speaking to Michael Keaton, that is a scene where you can feel the direction, not just the prowess from Michael Keaton, but just the intensity, not only just as a audience sitting in the seat, but from Tom's face, from Keaton's face. That movie twists at that point in the film.
Mm-hmm.
And from there to the end, it took some liberties that I genuinely did not think. Like, it shakes up the source material and it's very unapologetic about it. Don't get me, when I say shake up the source material, I don't mean like it misses what the character should be or stuff like that, but just how it places character. This is a spoiler cast, right?
Yeah, I mean, we can. I would mind. We can spoil stuff. I thought we would start off just.
Okay, so yeah,
I think it's what we want, man.
I think it's genuinely, it blew me away. I did not think it would be this good. Like, I did not think so. I love all the cast. I love this setting. Of course, it kind of felt too good to be true, and for a lot of the worries that I had, for one, is the MCU connection going to be too much or boggle the film down? No. There were points in this movie where you start to kind of forget, like, we're in this grander universe at times. When Spider-Man is just Spider-Man and he's Spider-Manning, So overall, I think that I've posted on Twitter, it's my favorite, but it doesn't mean it's the best, if you know what I mean. Because when something is your favorite, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's definitively the best film. but it can be your favorite film. It could be your connection to it, or whatever. This is a Spider-Man film that's showing me a perspective that I've never gotten before, yet I've really always wanted. I've always wanted to kind of see myself in this character, especially growing up as a kid. So now I'm thinking, from the reactions I got in the theater, it's like, you know, it's kind of game changing for people to watch Spider-Man be a high schooler and kind of go through what they went through. So, right. I mean, overall, I said this in my video, and I'll say it here. I think every Spider-Man movie, no matter bad, no matter good, shows heights the character can go. Spider-Man 3 shows heights the character can go. The Amazing Spider-Man shows the heights. For some people that don't like Amazing Spider-Man, the Amazing Spider-Man 2, I think, shows the heights. And I think here, it shows the heights as well. I mean, you see the character fall and you see him rise, and that's kind of what I like. So I'd say, Venom, you gotta take it. You gotta take it, man. You gotta speak on it, man.
Well, so I remember whenever like we have our live streams, and the question would come up like, "What's my favorite Spider-Man movie?" And that question is very difficult for me, because like I like everybody praises Spider-Man 2.
Everyone does, yeah.
I don't necessarily like growing up. I didn't see to me, Spider-Man 3 was the bee's knees when I was a kid, and I grew up, you know. But for me, like I see there are bits and pieces of all the Spider-Man movies that I really enjoy.
That's what I'm saying too.
But it's like for me the best form of storytelling, or the best. The time that we've had the story of Peter Parker told, to me, that was the best, was in Spectacular Spider-Man TV show. And I feel like no film has been able to touch that. So with that being said,
so that if I could
went to see Spider-Man Homecoming last night, I was watching this movie, and I was in complete, like, what's the word? I don't even see. I'm speechless. So I think it's pretty apparent that I really like this movie. Like, I was watching this movie.
That's how I felt walking out, dude.
And I'm like, genuinely, like, there is a genuine, like, a not just appreciation, but like maybe that's the fan thing just overcame me. It was like this. Oh my God, they're doing it! Like,
yeah. It feels tangible now, because when we see him in Civil War, it's like, okay. When we see the trailers for the movie, it's like, okay. But when you're sitting there in the seat and you start to realize that this is movie history in reality, this is a deal that no one thought would happen, that happened. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, watching this movie for me, it was just like. And just to touch back, I'm gonna go back to what you said about Spectacular Spider-Man. I think that in this, just to touch upon a lot of people like kind of criticisms, and this is directly when we start to talk about superhero movies. Sometimes people want their interpretation of a character displayed. If you know what I mean. And I think that why Spectacular Spider-Man works so well is because, at least why people favor it so much, it is their interpretation. If you would agree, would you agree with that? Like, that's why there's so much brilliance to it, because like that is the Spider-Man I read. That's the Spider-Man that I've come to love and understand. So when I'm watching Homecoming, I've come across some criticisms that were really weird, and the biggest part for me was like, it was almost like some people wanted it to tread the same ground again, and I was like, what were you asking for from this movie? It's kind of like when I start to talk to people about Man of Steel and they tell me what they want from it. I'm like, you're telling me something that we've seen before. It doesn't, like, you're not giving me a reason that a studio would want to pass this. This doesn't warrant a reboot. You know what I mean? So I think some people kind of had a problem with not having Uncle Ben kind of too heavy.
Right.
And to that counterpoint, I always say we've seen Spider-Man 6 different times in the span of like 17 years, you know? And I think that you got to realize the filmmakers are aware of its audience. You know, they're not looking at you like you're dumb. Spider-Man is the most selling hero out there, you know? Sometimes I think that's mostly the one criticism I saw. Oh, where's Uncle Ben? It feels like why am I not getting, kind of smacked in the face with the great power, great responsibility thing?
Right.
I'm kind of like, are you forgetting how many times?
Right. And for me, I found that to be kind of the most refreshing thing.
Me too.
First of all, it's like this movie is an origin story, but it's not the origin story that we've seen over and over and over. And I really found that refreshing in the sense that it is never stated Uncle Ben was killed.
And it's never stated great power or great
and it's
responsibility.
never stated, but and like
exactly.
and it's like Aunt May and Peter and even Ned, like they talk about, like, Ned and Peter have a little conversation, like, oh, you know what May's been through, and Aunt May's reactions to things, and it's like we know what happened, and they don't need to say it, and it's like we know, and for me, I felt like the one thing about this movie that just made me, oh my gosh, I was in complete awe, was the fact that the characters, the main characters in this movie, do not come off as characters. They're like people, like Peter Parker is a kid. He's not
flawed,
a nerd stereotype. He's not this bumbling idiot who can't speak or whatever. He's a kid. And that's what he is. And he has things that he likes and things that he dislikes. Yeah. And then Ned is the same way. He's a kid. He's not a loser. He's a kid, and things that he likes, things that he dislikes. And Aunt May, she's a genuine, like, maternal figure.
Yeah,
and for me,
that's how I felt.
It was so great to have characters that, like, honestly came off as people. Not it's not like I'm a nerd. It's like, yo, I'm a kid, and I like this and I like that, and I do this and I do that, and I dress up as Spider-Man.
I think again, it shows that, like, the vision of the director really feeling there. That's my big thing that I was scared about. I was like, is Feige going to push his hands in this one? This is Spider-Man. This is big for Marvel and Sony. Is Feige and some executives going to be in his ear? And it felt so much like Watts was doing this. And the scenes where they're just speaking, you feel his direction. The kids are just talking, and it feels natural. And even though the cast is so vastly different, it feels just as genuine as the Raimi films, And that was the biggest thing that got me too, because I was like, none of these characters are stereotypes. They're not being ran stereotypically. They're not being put in situations that we've kind of seen before. Peter is not popular, but it's not it's not a slap in the face not popular,
Right.
Because not again, the filmmakers know that he's, supposed to be this nerdy character, but also they put him in a light that I kind of like, because in high school, you can easily be not popular, but not necessarily like an outcast.
Right.
And that's kind of, for some reason in film, sometimes they paint the picture as if you're either popular or you're a nerd. But in this film, they were very, I think, realistic with the whole look. You can just not, be popular, but you're good. Of course, Peter does have his bullies, but at the same angle, I think that it taps into that relatability because everyone does. There's a point where you do have that guy that gives you a hard time, and I don't know, man. There's just this level of genuity, and I loved it. Like, even when we have Peter and Flash, or Peter and Zendaya, and we have to speak about Zendaya soon. I said her name, now I got a smile on my face, because, again, the film takes some liberties that you really don't expect. And I don't mean to skip ahead right away, but I mean, you feel that kind of emotional, like your heartstrings get pulled out, even in the beginning with the first bad guys, the real bad guys that Peter takes down in the bank, that scene out of Ultimate Comics. When we see that deli bodega get shot with the laser beam, you kind of stop for a moment and you feel what Peter feels, and you're like, oh shit, screw these guys. I'm going to help him. And again, that's what kind of reaffirmed to me, not only what the director and the filmmakers saw from the character, but that they really kind of understood the essence of Spider-Man, because he'll do that. He can fight a supervillain, but if someone's in trouble, supervillain can wait. I have someone to save. So there are moments like that. There's a beautiful, beautiful moment. I think one of my favorites of the Spider-Man films, and that's a long list, when Peter is just under the rubble during the third act, and he has to push himself up. I love that, not only because it shows that Peter has, the strength in his character, but it also reaffirms, and this is what I think that the film is really trying to hit on. Peter Parker and Spider-Man are not two different personas. They're one and the same. Mm-hmm. That's why I loved when Peter's sitting there in the rubble, especially Tom Holland's performance there, when you hear him calling out and he's like, "I'm just a kid. Somebody help me. I'm under the rubble." And no one answers. And then he's like, "Come on, Peter." Pause. "Come on, Spider-Man." And pushes it up. It's not saying that one is stronger than the other. It's that they're one and the same. And that's what I liked about it, because this is an origin story, but in a way it's not necessarily the usual one.
Exactly.
That's the kind of the beauty in it. I mean, there was so much to gush about. But in its root, I think that director tapped into everyone and really got some great performances out of it. Zendaya brought that flair, and I think is it just me? I think me and you were on the same page. We thought she would bring that flair to the movie, or were you kind of like indifferent?
I mean, yeah, I was indifferent. Yeah, I was indifferent.
Dude, I was getting murdered here when I said
very indifferent with this film. Like I became very indifferent. I don't know.
I got murdered here saying, like, people are like, "Oh, she's from Disney Channel." I was like, I guarantee you, if she auditioned for the role and she got it, it was for a reason, and people kept yelling at me. But I thought in the film, she had a minimal amount of screen time, and you understand why. Yep. But every moment she was there, I was smiling or I'd laugh. She just had that oomph to her.
That oomph. She got marks.
And it makes sense because Ultimate Comics Mary Jane ain't no pushover, you know?
Yeah. Now we're gonna get to that in a moment. But before we do, there's something I want to talk about, because we've been gushing about this film. Yeah. And me, it's always something that I don't like.
Yeah, I'm down to talk about that. That's what I was about to say too.
But no, there's some things that didn't make sense to me, and in my my review thing that'll go up tomorrow, and then I'll do more stuff. But I talk about it. I'm gonna because now I can have this discussion with you. Maybe you can help me understand some things. Mm-hmm. So first of all, I completely understand the thought that Tony Stark and Peter Parker, they're one and the same, and like Tony sees himself in Peter, and Peter looks up to Tony, and this is something, the father figure thing, something that we knew was gonna happen.
Yeah.
Now, something that really made me, and I think they did it on purpose, because it's Tony's character. Mm-hmm. Tony gets mad at Peter for going after the Vulture, right?
Yeah.
He goes after the Vulture. He gets mad when he has to get him out the lake. Then Peter goes after the Vulture again, and Tony praised him. Like, he's like, you did a good job, right? Fairy incident happens, and Tony is pissed, and he takes away the suit. And then Peter he fights the Vulture again, brings down a plane and stuff, and then he's happy.
Well, just maybe
these are the things. These are the things. Number one, Tony Stark is getting mad at Peter as if Peter is he's just doing the unthinkable. He's just, when you're not responsible for creating a robot that almost destroyed all humans, and you're not responsible for selling weapons to enemy like that. But I mean, I think that's a part of the internal conflict with Tony. Yeah. Number one. Number two.
Before you even continue, you kind of messed up that timeline a little bit. Tony didn't get happy with Pete until the very end.
No, I thought because he called he called him and was like, he was praising him, and then
because he kept reporting to Happy and telling him, oh, I helped this lady, she bought me a churro, and you saw he kept texting her over and over again, and he calls and he's like, hey Pete, Happy says you've been being a good neighborhood Spidey, so what's going on? And Peter Parker's of course betraying what he said not to do before. So I don't think that was a call of, hey, great job going after the Vulture, but hey, thanks for staying in the neighborhood like I told you to.
But I thought it was because didn't it have to do with with him? I'm trying to remember. With him going, he stopped. It was the truck, right? The truck was driving, and it was right after he stopped that. So wait, you're saying the call was because
he never caught the truck.
You're saying the call was for the
past things he was doing
for him and informing Happy about stuff that was happening.
No, yeah, because when he first leave off Civil War, he says, "Yo, Happy's gonna be your point guy on this. You tell him everything that goes on." And you saw when he was riding the train in that nice great sequence showing his duality in life. He's texting Happy all the time, and Happy never responds. But if you read the text, it's all the shit you see in the movie. Saving a guy, I helped this guy walk across the street, I stopped this petty bike thief, all that stuff. That's what Tony was calling about, not on the other angle. Because Tony kind of even he even scolded him when he was in the remote suit, like, no, I told you not to go. Like, that's why you're not going. I gave you the suit. It's kind of a, you know what I mean? Right. But the base of your problem was, why was Tony treating him that way?
No, the base was Tony is a hypocrite because Tony just did a whole bunch of Tony is he quite literally almost killed everybody on Earth.
And but that's still the growth of the character, though.
Yeah, I know, I get that. And then at the end, he praised Peter. He praised Peter to the point where he was saying Peter can live at the Avengers estate, whatever. Like, so then what does that mean now? Is Peter getting out of high school? What that didn't really make sense to me.
I think that was the it was again the filmmaker's interpretation as far, and this again resonates with mine. Everyone underrates him, or almost, underestimates him.
Yes.
Until he does something that's of that length that we know he can do. Because in the Ultimate Comics, it's like that a lot. He is working by himself a lot, and like in this movie, but not as much as the original, the Amazing Fantasy comics. But like in this movie, in the Ultimate Comics, he likes the idea of being a Avenger or Ultimate in that universe, or a Fantastic Four member, but he knows, those guys don't like me. Like, I'm not on their level. But when he does something that is of such a caliber, then he gets that, that kind of his due, if you will. So I thought that was a little bit more commentary on people underestimate him, especially from that higher up place, like Avengers level stuff. People, they were treating him like he was just a kid who just stumbled upon powers and that was it,
Yeah, but to me, it doesn't make sense from a character point of view. For you to, you're taking this kid who is a kid out of school, away from his aunt. Like, how do you do that?
Yeah, I kind of still like that Tony was like, hey, kid, I was the only one that had any faith in you. I was speaking to Happy, and I said I wanted to pick you up, and everyone called me crazy. I was the only one that put faith in you. And you know what? If you ever get hurt out there, it's going to be on my conscience. I also like that, and it's not said, and again, I love this in film where the unspoken, is in your head. It's never said, but I think that is kind of like he's using Peter as he doesn't want Peter to add to his what's the word, his conscience. Right. He doesn't want that on his like, you got Ultron under your belt, you got the weapon selling. He can't handle another great failure like that. So he's kind of treating Peter, the way he's treating Peter is really just the embodiment of his own, problems. Like, it's like, I can't imagine this kid getting hurt because I feel like it would be my fault.
Right.
And it doesn't go spoken, but I feel like by the end, Peter gets it. And that father, that kind of mentorship thing, I feel like it's ended with that handshake. Did you get that vibe too?
No, wait a minute. Wait. We'll get there in a moment because you already. I think you know where I'm going to go with that. But so with what you just said, right?
Mm-hmm.
For me, it didn't. Another thing didn't make sense was Peter Parker, Spider-Man. He wants to be in the Avengers in the beginning. So of course, progression of character by the end, it should be like I think I should be the friendly. I think I could be the friendly.
I love that too. I love that.
By the end, for me, I felt like, and you can correct me, and I'm going to see the movie again because I do so much in the day, so my memory clearly is kind of a little bit bogged, which is fine. But I remember that there were the scene. It was with Ned.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was after Ned had helped him take down the Shocker, Bokeem Woodbine.
Mm-hmm.
And Peter had a line that referenced him being an Avenger.
Mm-hmm. So I don't think I caught it.
I feel like he did.
He did have one, but it was in the gym, and he was like,
"Yeah,
hey, are you an Avenger?" Basically.
Like, basically. Yeah. But I feel like there was a line that referenced him being an event. I may be wrong. I may completely be wrong. And if I am,
I'll watch it. I will not say it even though I do not remember the line. I'm watching it a second time.
So and I barely do. I barely do. But anyway, my point is that if that line is there, because while I was watching, it felt very forced at the end. Because I knew it was going to happen. Listen, I know, and Tony Stark is a jackass.
That's him.
And in the comics, everybody knows Tony Stark's a jackass. Spider-Man learned firsthand. Tony Stark's a jackass.
Even though it's much more lighthearted than it can be in there's no real big disdain from either side. But I felt like in that shot, the way they shot it, Spider-Man holds his hand and shakes it, and you see Tony's face.
Oh yeah.
It's not like Tony's pissed or anything, but it's like Tony's like, this kid gets it.
See, now that's not what I got. It reminded me exactly of the Civil War arc where Peter Parker he gave Tony back the suit. But I mean, it didn't remind me exactly, but it was
much more lighthearted. But I see what you mean.
And then but in the comics, Tony got pissed.
Yeah,
it was like you're not going over. But it reminded me of that, and for me, I felt like that arc with Peter, it didn't. I knew it was happening, and it should have happened, but I felt like it was missing something. I don't know. It was missing something.
I think it's also because they went much softer with the Iron Man effect. Because Iron Man was watching him. He didn't like that. Yeah, Iron Man put that stuff in the suit. He didn't like that. But it wasn't as much it wasn't as manipulative as it could have been.
And for me, I feel like that's why at the end the decision. It's like now I don't want to be an Avenger, but for me as a fan, me as a fan. I know why. But as in taking that fan mask off and just watching the movie and for the information that's given in the movie, I was like, why don't you want to be an Avenger now?
I think it again goes with the unsaid, because it's like he proved himself without the suit. So I think when he's getting presented with the suit, it's almost the embodiment of that Avenger's life. Now you're an Avenger. You're living with me, no longer with Aunt May. You're coming to a Stark retreat once again, but permanently. You're not going to school. You're not going to be able to have that experience. And I felt like Peter saw that, and he was like, no, when you took that suit away and I went out and did shit on my own, you get that. I feel like it was an unspoken, like, reaffirming. No, that's not even the fucking word. Again, his morals from that day that Uncle Ben died were reaffirmed. The old classic.
Why?
Well, I think when you take away the suit, because he was glamour, I think that maybe it's because I'm thinking when I was a kid, sometimes you get in that phase where you kind of get obsessed with one thing and you start to forget some of the morals you were taught.
Yeah.
I think that's what was being hit. He was missing. He was like, oh, Stark. And the thing I like, this body of dialogue I like, he doesn't say just, even though, you know, he does want to be an Avenger and he thinks it's cool and everything. What he says to Stark when he sees him is, Mr. Stark, I think I should be doing more.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that was an important piece of dialogue because it still shows your heart is in the right place, you know, but at the same time, you have to get all of that, you know, the stuff that you're infatuated with that aren't the essentials kind of out of there. I think that when I'm thinking back to being a kid, sometimes you get fascinated with something, whether it's a game or trying to be cool or trying to be that or this, and you focus on that one thing, but then you kind of get that snap that kicks you out of it and you start to realize who you are. And I think that the Vulture fight was that in a way when it was bare bones. There's no tech here, just you, your wits, your web shooters and powers. I think that I like that. I mean, when he had the suit taken away, it felt again more intimate. That final confrontation with the Vulture is a very intimate one. And the thing that I loved about the Vulture, and again, you have a villain that's not just testing Peter physically, but mentally. He's being told things that, you know, could easily, you can almost hear Vulture's argument. And that's why I love a lot of Spider-Man villains, because they have that layer where you're like, shit, I feel you, but what you're doing isn't right. Because Vulture's big thing is, you know, being treated bad. You know, you're at the bottom, the people at the top are treating you bad. It's a relevant thing to be pissed off about. It's still happening today to regular people. So it almost makes sense for Peter to get mad, you know, not get mad, but to understand.
Right.
If
So,
you know what I mean.
Do you think that the Vulture was did you empathize with him?
Yeah. And I was missing that because I didn't have that. I like the Amazing Spider-Man one, but I did not have that with any of the Amazing Spider-Man films. I didn't care. I did not care for. I didn't have that level of empathy for any of them. For Dane DeHaan's Green Goblin, I had no empathy for you because his motivations were so one-dimensional and kind of, I don't want to say wacky or anything like that. I don't have the word on me, but it's like that Spider-Man comic where someone has a motive that just seems so not mature in a way, not adult and not very honest. Like, you won't give me your blood, so you're dying. It's very 1D. It feels very surface level, and there's not much more to it there. You know, let's move back to Spider-Man 1. Green Goblin had everything, you know, that he worked for taken from him. You almost see why he's angry, but you can't condone his actions. The Vulture, his action, you know, the reason why he did it, you see it in the beginning of the film. He got screwed over. He lost his job. The people that worked for him also lost their jobs. And his big argument is, you know, miss, I have a family to care for, and you're not letting me do that. It's something you can understand. And the biggest thing is I just didn't get that out of the Amazing Spider-Man movies. And I try to be as open as I can and give praise to it. But like, I don't care about Electro having his blueprint stolen by Oscorp.
Right.
It felt so surface level, and it could have been much deeper, but it wasn't, you know. And the lizard's plan was he was going to turn the entire city into lizard people,
and it was because they needed to evolve or something. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Like, and you start to shake your head, and you're like, it just doesn't sound mature, and it doesn't sound. I'm not asking for adult, but just mature motives, you know.
I mean, it just doesn't make sense for me. Like,
it does. It sounds so like so kiddie in a way.
Turn everyone into lizards because they like, I don't get, but
because I'm a lizard.
Like, because I'm a lizard. I don't know. But with the Vulture,
did you feel for him?
Listen, there were certain moments where it was like, oh, okay, you know, okay, yeah, he's a person. And then there were other moments where I felt like the movie was like, no, look, he's a person. Look, He's not evil. He's a person. Relate to him. And I'm like, okay.
Where did you like when? Could you say a scene?
Yeah. I can. So like, I get you're doing this for your daughter. You're doing this for your family. All of that.
Mm-hmm.
His daughter almost dies. Right. His daughter almost dies, and that has literally no effect on him. It has no.
Yes. Wait.
No.
He says in the car.
In the car, he has one line. He has one line that says, "You saved my daughter. You know, that's family, and I appreciate that. Thank you." But then I
thought that was always what he was reaffirming, though, to him.
But he's to a person, right? If for me, I'll talk about me. I can't talk about anybody else but me. If I'm a robber or something like that, and I am doing this for my family, I'm doing this so we can have food on the table and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And something happens in which my daughter or my family member is put in harm's way. And not only are they saved by someone that's been getting in my way or whatever, but
it's also he didn't have that realization till then.
But it's maybe this is. I mean, he may not have known this, but it's possible that he did. I don't know. The movie never even touches on the fact that the reason why it happened was because of the little thing from his people. But if he did know, and he may not have, I don't know. We can go either way with that. But there's a correlation of his work being the cause of his daughter almost dying, and he doesn't mention it until in the car. It's not like
that isn't his fault. That's Peter's fault.
But it is his fault because he's the one that
you could argue it rounds back to him, and if he wasn't doing crime, it would have. But Peter was running that. He wanted to save those people that quick because he knew that. Oh shit! I put that on Ned.
Yeah.
And again, I think the unspoken goes there. It's unspoken, but you see it there. You know,
Peter definitely is responsible.
Yeah, I think it was Peter knew it was kind of him.
If Vulture wasn't doing what he was doing, that would not.
Yeah, I see that argument too. I see that argument, but to the same argument, it's like no one's really in the right here.
Yeah, no one is. No one.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't feel that was one of the things. Again, I credit the director for. I never once felt like I was being forced to care for the guy. It was just Keaton's performance. I also know that Keaton worked hands-on, and he kind of formed the character himself. So I think that we have a lot of this character to attribute to what he wanted to do. And I thought that his direction was really interesting for the character to kind of make it like, look, I'm doing this. That's the same reason why you do what you do. I just want to protect, not really protect, but I want to care for my family. I want to provide for my family, just how if you have someone at home, you'd like to do the same.
Yeah. And that made sense. You know, that made sense, but it came to a point for me where it was like, all right, listen, I get that he's a person, but he's a villain, and he is. It's like it's not like people are comparing him to Walter White. Like Walter White,
okay.
At the end of the show for me for Breaking Bad, like Walter White did some messed up stuff, but I was still like, I mean, like you got to do what you got to do, Walt. Like
yeah. But here's a cool thing about this movie that I think it does.
I didn't feel that. It still felt like
he was in the wrong.
This is not also, I'm not saying, because to me, he is the best. He is one of the best villains in the Marvel cinematic universe.
Agreed.
All the other ones are trash. But like when it comes to people praising him as a villain and as being relatable, to me, it was like, yo.
I think people misuse I think they're looking for the word of understandability. That is what I say. I like that I'm able to understand why you do what you do. That's what and here's the biggest part, that twist at the end when he ends up being Liz's father. The reason why that's so impactful, not only just because it's shocking and freaking you out, freaking Peter out, but it's also because he always said, I'm doing this to support my family. But when that family is now in your face and tangible, when you see them, now you're like, fuck. fuck. and dude, that was one of the dude. I thought Guardians of the Galaxy had a big moment, but this movie, I think everyone just turned to their peer, if you didn't know him, and you were like, "Oh shit!"
No, I started laughing in the theater. Like
I wanted to laugh, but at first, when
like,
I opened the door and I saw him, I just
I was like, "Wait a minute, this is a trick."
That's what I said too. I was like, he robbed the house. This can't be him. And
he opened that door. He was like, "You must be Peter." I was like, "Oh my god!"
And here's the thing: the beautiful thing about that, the filmmakers made it so you feel exactly like fucking Peter. And that house, you're staring at Keaton. You're not looking at mom. You're not looking at sister. You're not looking at daughter. Keaton's face is what you're looking at. Yeah. And I thought that's why I think that car scene, where Peter's just sitting there, like scooted an inch away from the girl, and he's just asking questions. Then she's like, "No, Peter, you disappeared like you always do." And Keaton's a smart guy, and he's putting that shit together, and he started to be like, "Oh no!" And Peter's like, "What? No, I didn't." and then Keaton makes that face where he stops at the green light for like 10 minutes. And then she's like, "Let me talk to you. Let me give him the talk." Pulls out a gun. Don't mess with me. I was like, oh, Keaton was he brought this energy, this sense of dominance.
Right.
I haven't felt since Defoe. I haven't felt since Defoe.
Like maybe that scene was hyped up for me or something. Like, I don't know. But I was watching and like I was thinking the whole time, like, okay, like I get he's being intimidating. But to me, it kind of took away from the fact of me trying to empathize with him. It was like,
I think it's not just empathizing.
It wasn't like he was intimidating. It was like, for me, really going on, like adding more on top of the I'm evil, like I get what he's doing.
It's not a one-dimensional evil, which I like though. It's still not a 1D.
It's not one dimension, but it's like, yo, my dude, this kid saved your daughter's life, but
even at I'm gonna still credit this for the character. He still has that code, and that's what I freaking love about a lot of Spidey villains. When he goes to jail and they press him, I heard you know the kid's identity. If I knew, he'd be dead.
Right.
Again, shows that respect. I love when the villains have that respect for him.
Yeah,
that is what I love about, because even when he's there, he's like, "Look, kid, you're gonna walk through those doors. You're not gonna say a thing. You saved my girl. I respect that. I respect family. Get out of the car. You know, wait. What do you say? Thank you. Get out of the car. You know, it was that. I don't know. It was just that maybe you didn't feel tension as I did, but that tension, because I also know Michael Keaton as he's able to be an explosive actor. So when I see his face and he's starting to get it, especially when and another thing, this film does not treat any of its antagonists as stupid. I love that. They treat everyone like they have a brain. So when
I thought they were going to do that with Herman Schultz. I thought Herman was about to be, even though they didn't even name him, but like we know from the casting.
Whatever, yeah.
But like I thought, because it was like at the beginning when he said something and he just sounded like he was just completely dumb. And I was like, oh, so the black guy's the dumb one. All right. But then later on, he was like, I'm out. Like,
dude, this is just one of the, I gotta clap, because it's just when you understand, and I know that Feige is a gigantic, big Spider-Man reader. He still reads to this day. When you get how his antagonists work, because even though I didn't like the Amazing Spider-Man versions, and why? Because I felt like a lot of people like to blame this on Sony. No, I think this is in the director. The director read the books, and this is his takeaway. He views that character or whatever story he read, and he thought that the core of the character was one thing when a lot of people thought it was the other. So for Green Goblin, for me, I'm like, you're gonna have Green Goblin kill Gwen Stacy. The death of Gwen Stacy is still a beautiful scene on its own, but you're gonna kill Gwen Stacy because Spider-Man would not give you his blood. There is like, let me compare. In the Ultimate Comics, the reason why Norman Osborn, often combats with Spider-Man is because he has his own problem mentally, where he's going, I made the spider and it bit you, you're mine.
Yep.
That is so much deeper than you won't give me your blood, I'm killing your girlfriend. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? But a lot of people blame Sony, and I'm like, no, this is your understanding here, you know? So I love that. It's also, of course, work with Michael Keaton, but they added these layers, and it's become, of course, one of the most interesting, I'd say, like interpretations of Vulture, and I'm happy we'll see him again. Genuinely.
Oh yeah.
I love that. That sense of code is the big thing for me. I love when someone respects their the person they clash with,
right?
In a way, because now when they interact, it's even sweeter.
Yeah, and for me, that scene was tense. It was tense. I was sitting there like, oh, but it was more like like he's evil. Like it wasn't like and that scene at the end it made me go, you know what? He's a different villain,
Yeah.
But I still do think evil, and and because of him being evil, that makes me not empathize with him. Because I don't care. You say that you're doing this for your family and everything, but like it just didn't. I couldn't fathom the response toward his daughter.
And I think that it's not even on this is comic booky or stupid. It's just no guy, like you seem insane.
Yeah,
And at the same point, I like that in a way, because there is stuff that will make a person snap, and then the way of thinking gets flawed. And I like that they did that there. But I'm gonna twist the conversation real quick. We have to go back and talk about. You know how good they did the duality between Pete and Spider-Man? That scene where she's like, "Come with me to the pool," and if everyone is in his, okay, but then you stop. I have a responsibility, and he's just standing there looking at her, and he's like, ah, shit.
Yes,
that's not me. And he goes, I'm like, that is so beautiful.
I'm watching this movie, and I'm going, they are really doing this. Like, they are really this is Spider-Man.
Yeah.
This is Spider-Man. This is the story. These are the struggles. This is what he goes through. Something else I really, really appreciated, and something that I never even contemplated, because this had never happened before. That moment when he's climbing up the Washington Monument, and he gets to the top, and he realizes how high he is, and he freaks out. That was I started thinking, in Spider-Man 1, Toby is on the rooftop, and he, go Web, Tally, and he swings in Tally-ho, and it's just like it's Tuesday. I'm on a rooftop, and Andrew Garfield, he falls off a building and just swings, and he's like, it's no big deal. But Peter's there's a genuine reaction, like, I'm high right now. I've never been this high before. If I fall, I'm gone. Like, that to me was that just when those little things that make me go, like this is a person. Like, this is a person. Like, and I really, really appreciated and valued that. It was I was watching like, oh my gosh, with like the biggest smile. I was like, oh my gosh.
And another thing, I'm not sure if we speculated this, but a lot of fans did, including me. Peter turned a lot of those fucking features off quick. it was like with the insta kill mode. Whoa! I don't want to kill anybody.
Yeah.
Okay. Spins web balls. Why would I need that? He just put everything what it was before. I was like, that is amazing. Like, you totally get it. I love that right there too. That was totally get it, because that's how Peter would be. He's like, what is this shit? Oh, this isn't what I do. Web balls and stuff.
Web balls. Now we can get to the the reveal at the end, because my reaction, I don't think is anything. The reveal of Zendaya. The reveal
it wasn't like a, oh, I didn't see this coming, but it was, for me it was like a, oh yeah, you know, like, oh, this is who we're getting in the sequels. Sign me up. Because every dude, I swear to you, man, every scene she was in, I was smiling. Like she, and of course, to be a love interest for Spider-Man, she holds way more empowering traits than any of them. You know, she's not a pushover. She's not the standard girl. She's not nerdy. You know, she's not weird or anything like that. It's just she's such a unique character. And I like this about Liz too. Liz, again, someone that was a love interest, but had these traits that were very admirable. You know, she was wise. You know, she was an everybody person. She helped everyone at school. And all the times Peter would mess up, she was very forgiving of him. She wasn't looking to do the usual trope in movies where it's like, oh my God, what the hell is wrong with you, Peter? You left me out there. You know, she was very mature with how she responded to things. And I'm like, again, thank you for making characters that feel real. Yeah, that feel real. For me, when she had said she was when Zendaya said, "My friends call me MJ," my reaction was it a smirk? I was like, I think I went to like this place of like, okay, like yeah, you know, like it's like, well, they're going there. and then I started thinking and it makes me giddy because I'm like, I remember reading Ultimate Spider-Man, and I remember every time Peter got his ass whooped, he would go to Aunt May's basement, and who would be waiting there for him? Mary Jane. And it's just like, man, because I love a female, a romantic interest that is so, you know, empowering, and you know, doesn't just feel like the usual romantic interest. You know, that's what interests me so much about it, and especially because so much restraint. Yeah, that they didn't have to do. They could have easily done a love triangle, which they didn't. And like I thought they were. Like I remember those pictures leaked out. Yeah, I thought the same. I was like, no, you know. And then and also when the reveal happened, I started going, Zendaya, you're a liar. Like, I was like, but she said she wasn't Mary Jane. She was like, no, I really am. I'm Michelle. That's who I am. I'm like, you're a liar. And you know what? A lot of people said, and again, talking directly to the audience here, a lot of people said, oh, people said they saw the Comic-Con footage and she was being rude to Peter. That's not like Mary Jane. Read Ultimate. I remember that. Yeah, everyone said that, right? Nope. She's not a pushover in that comic line, man. But I'm willing to bet. I'm going to say it right here. I'm willing to bet she will not be his love interest until the third movie when he's a senior and they are both seniors. And or you know what I think it's going to be? I think it's not even that. It might be a friend. Yeah, she's going to really. I think it's going to be a really good friend because an Ultimate. Uncle Ben, when he was alive, would be like, hey, you guys should probably go get some milkshakes or something. But they were so interested in their friendship that they almost forgot about the other side or the side that they kept moving toward. So I think that she's just going to be very much a big helping hand. I feel like she's going to be, you know what? She's going to probably complete the Trinity or maybe a couple more that know that he's Spider-Man. Yeah. I feel like I think she has an idea, but I think she's going to, you know, call him out for his shit, you know, like bring him to bed. Peter, I know what you're doing, you know, and then it's going to be her, Ned, Peter. Boom. You know what I mean? May? About May? Oh no, we got to talk about that. Oh, can we talk about how, dude, how ballsy that is? First of all, when it happened, I started laughing because the movie was ending, and I was sitting watching like something's about to happen. I thought when he goes, May, no one answered. When you call your mom's name and she doesn't answer, she's in the house. Okay. Your mom goes, I'm not here, and you know she's not there. Yeah, and that's when I knew. I was like, and the way the camera was panning out. Yeah. But my biggest thing was Could they did that?
Yes, they did that.
I didn't think, dude. Was that also out of left field for you?
For me, it was, but also it was like, well, the first series she didn't know. The second series she alluded to knowing, and they're like, no,
because she was. And here's another thing: filmmakers understand. They look at Ultimate so much, and the greatest thing about Ultimate is they treat everyone as a regular person. They're smart. They put shit together, you know.
Yeah.
And May started calling him out on it,
yeah.
And he got lucky that he was so emotional, and she helped him out there. But Peter, I know you leave this house every day. I know you didn't go to there. I know you didn't go here. Boom, 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 boom. And luckily he was like, I lost his Stark Answership, and it was kind of his frustration from losing the suit. But I love that they've created such an intelligent supporting cast.
Yes.
That is the beauty. And you know what? I'm sure he's going to have a couple of moments where he saves himself, because there are, like, for example, Kong from Spectacular Spider-Man was in Ultimate. He was like, Peter Parker, Spider-Man. People were like, Kong, you're so stupid. Shut up. You know, but he was right. You know, he got the idea, but they shut it down. Mm-hmm. So I love that they treat people like they're so smart. So, of course, with the way Zendaya is moving, Michelle is moving, and of course, with that name, you know, hey, she's going to be important in the future. I'm looking forward to, I think me and you are on the same page. I'm looking forward for that friend trio, man.
Yeah.
Especially with Aunt May in on it.
Yeah, that's going to be something. And then they said the second Spider-Man movie starts exactly
after
Infinity War.
And you know what Kevin Feige said? He'll be in just about as much as Infinity War. I mean, it's just about as much as Civil War. You know what again, I praise Marvel for its restraint, because you easily could have had that freaking character in the whole movie. And and no matter how we would have felt, because we're not in on it, you could have formulated whatever story you wanted, but they kept that restraint, and they were like, let's keep him as the ground hero. That I think so. And you know what? Of course, you know, looking back now, we're gonna be like, oh, it should be that way. But I didn't think they'd have that level of restraint, honestly.
My mic just muted itself. I don't know why I did that, but I mean, yeah, I agree. I think few things with the Avengers thing. Bring us back to something at the beginning. Our conversation really quickly when. A part of the thing where I was like, I feel like it was really forced and came out of left field, not left field, but it was forced when Peter had the realization that, oh, I want to be by myself. I want to be the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. I think that they almost rushed it, because Infinity War, what's the reason for Spider-Man going into space and helping now?
Again, it's not even worth speculating, because we know what they can do. But I did see some set photos. Not sure if they're still out there. But it was very much like Spidey's just swinging in New York and they scoop him. You know?
That's what happens, really?
It looked like, of course, this is out of context and stuff, but it was a shot of a double swinging.
Okay.
Like he was on top of a bus, like an NY bus, and he was jumping off. That's what I saw. And so I'm like, okay, I get it. I think they're going the angle of, hey, we're probably gonna need a little bit of help, you know? Because I think the thing about Infinity War you gotta remember is the stakes we're expecting to be so high that it would make sense that they need freaking everyone.
Right. And I would think that, like, Spider-Man in the comics, he's like, you know, the world's at risk, you know, I'll help. Yeah. But it was just I just feel like it was so.
You felt like it was forced? I thought it was kind of earned.
I feel like it was getting to that point. And it just needed a little bit more self-realization.
Yeah.
Like there was never for me a true realization of self. It was like, even when Peter and Tony are walking and talking, it didn't seem like, say for instance, if Tony didn't ask Peter to stay, well, I got you, I just made a suit for you, and I want you to live here and all of that. If Tony didn't do that, I feel like Peter would have still been in the realm of, I want to impress Mr. Stark. I want to be an Avenger. And it was like, if that dialogue, if that
of the whole, yeah, you stay in the house, you got a room.
Like, I feel like Peter would have still been at that level, and it was just like,
you know what? But the fact that he was open to going home without a suit, because I think a lot of people also forget this kid was ready to go home without a suit and wear what he was wearing before. Yeah. So I think that lesson was learned. But I agree. You know, I'll agree with you here. I think that there could have been another sequence where you really see Peter, you know, because a lot of what we're going off of is unspoken, just shown throughout the film. Unspoken. So
and we know we're
fans. So it should be a little bit more reinforcement. And the thing is, when we ask for reinforcement, I don't mean it in the manner of it's hitting you on the, he's not doing, you know, but just a little bit more self-realization, even if it's just facially or visually, maybe just looking at his suit in his room, anything. You know, I agree with you there. It's
a little bit more. And I think that then we can go back to where we were. Mm-hmm. And I really do think that they're setting it up that for Peter, as he grows up, he'll realize that Tony Stark is not the man that he wants to be, and that will.
I even like how, because Stark is still very self-destructive, but he's also very aware of himself. Yeah. I like the dialogue where, and even though the trailer always does it, and we interpreted it one way, I think that I interpreted it as Stark is very much telling him, kid, please don't be me. You know, like you got the wrong impression, kid. You know, like. I realize, like, you know, Stark won't say it. You know, he's full of himself, but at the same time, he knows, like, and that's kind of what I like Iron Man 3 for, because there are a lot of times where you see Stark and you just see his face, and you can tell he knows what he is,
right?
You know, and I think that he knew that in Homecoming. So a lot of it was like, when I'm telling you be better, I mean it. You know, like, don't be me. I am not the the blueprint.
I'll be right back. I keep talking. Okay. I'll be right back.
Yeah, so he was kind of like, you know, I'm not the blueprint. I just loved that part, especially with him just being like, dude, don't follow me. That's what I loved. Let me read this chat. Let me just find some stuff. I think the next movie's title is Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. I don't know. It's hard to think about that stuff because, like, they don't even have a script yet. Aunt May won't be in Infinity War. I don't think she needs to. Let's save all of that for Homecoming sequel, because Aunt May knowing that shit is something we don't want 5 minutes of. We need real serious screen time. Hope they let alone Nick Fury with Spidey. I love that in Ultimate Universe. I love when Nick Fury goes to Spider-Man just to tell him the freaking stakes. There's a point in Ultimate Spider-Man where he goes to it's kind of like with Happy popping up in a school, but not like that. Like, Fury will pop up at you know, Spidey's school and be like, "Hey kid, you're fighting the Green Goblin. Just letting you know, Shield can't beat him. So good luck." When Nick Fury pops up like that, and it's written like Samuel Jackson and shit. That's the type of Nick Fury pop-ins I want. Like, reportedly, the deal, it's in the deal that we have to have someone pop up. So if we have to have someone pop up Iron Man time, or even a Captain America time, I'm cool with that. Captain America, dude. When I waited for that second post-credit scene in Captain America, he walks. Patience. I was like, no.
I jokingly went, boo.
Dude, I think people did that. The funniest one of those clips was when Peter's in detention, right? And he comes and pulls out the chair.
Yeah.
And he's like, so you got the tension.
Yeah, so you got the tension.
Oh, wait. You just skipped all over this. Miles Morales exists.
Now, wait a minute. All right. So I have a hard time understanding that Childish Gambino, Donald Glover, is 30 years old, because he looks he does not look 33. Like, he doesn't look, when I think 33, he doesn't look like a 33-year-old. So like, I was thinking that this is taking place while Miles is a little kid. And it could be because in the comics, Uncle Aaron is, no, he's still the Prowler. Never mind. So
my only thing about that representation, it very much wasn't traditional Prowler. And of course, like I said, I'm very open to shake-ups on the source material. So I always have to ask, so what is the Prowler going to be now? Like, is he not going to be the thief that he was known for in the Marvel universe, or is Childish Gambino going to evolve into this character in a sequel? I'm very interested in that. It's very small, and it's a valuable hint, and I'm sure it'll be very valuable in the future. But it just looking at it now, I'm like, what? Because he was dabbling in stuff that he didn't look like he wanted to be. So I don't know, like, I don't know how he'll become the Prowler, or even something resembling the Prowler we know today.
Right. Do you think that Miles Morales is going to
pop
do you
up?
think he's going to come up out of it?
I don't think we're going to see Miles till like me and you are going to be very much older. Speaking here,
you think so?
If they're doing a trilogy with Peter, yeah, we might have some time to wait.
Do you think when Miles comes, it will be the death of Spider-Man?
I don't know if Marvel. I have to see Marvel take some real liberties. The guy at Atlanta filming, you've interacted with him before. He takes pictures on all the Marvel sets.
Yeah, I interacted with him. I like how you said that.
Yeah. So because he reacts sometimes when he sees some shit that he just didn't want to, like, because he's taking pictures on the set.
Did he say he saw a spoiler?
He was like, guys, I saw a spoiler that literally ruined the movie for me. I don't mean that in a bad way, but that shit is like groundbreaking. I can't say anything. No other person saw it but me. I gotta go.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
So everyone was like, whoa, what happened? Oh, Fantastic Four, X-Men, what happened? But I think it's Marvel films have been taking a lot of liberties stake-wise. And I think that with Guardians and Spider-Man, it's okay to say that. When Guardians killed Yondu, I was like, what?
Yeah, me too.
I was like, you're what? And you felt the emotion because you expected to be on another trip with that guy.
Yep.
So when he was gone, I was like, whoa. And yes, this isn't like you're killing an Iron Man or a Captain, but at the same time, it's like, whoa. So when they went and here's another great thing. When they break the bond again, when Spider-Man sees Vulture, your engine's about to explode. Your engine's about to explode. Doesn't hear him. He runs in, saves him.
Yeah.
Not again breaking the bond. The villain doesn't have to die.
Yeah.
Another thing. So I'm like, is there a correlation from Ike Perlmutter like having his hands off Marvel from 2015 to not, like, things have? Would you say things have changed? Things have changed weirdly.
So my opinion, I'll tell you, and I know my opinion is going to be a little bit controversial. It normally is. I think that Spider-Man Homecoming definitely is ushering in a new Marvel Cinematic Universe.
I think Black Panther looks like it's going to do it too.
It for me, this film is the first Marvel film in a long time that has changed the formula. It is not following the Marvel formula, but I think it's not following the Marvel formula for a number of different reasons. Number one, because it's Spider-Man, Marvel, they are able to do a little bit more because it's a character that people are going to see. Number two, Marvel's not paying for this movie, so they were able to do even more because they're
not paying for it, but that budget is still kind of low.
Oh, yeah, the budget was low, but there's even less risk because they're not paying for it. Number three, I think Sony's involvement is.
You think they have some executive pull?
Oh no, they definitely do. But I think
creatively,
Sony was the one that said yes or no to everything. But I think Sony's involvement, it deserves a little bit more credit a lot of it more credit than people give it, because people have been crapping.
That lady that's still in charge is kind of responsible for a lot of bad shit.
Yeah, but she's, I think,
she's learning.
The Sony definitely, to say Sony didn't play a part in the success.
Oh yeah, that'd be wrong.
It's entirely wrong. And I think that even Marvel, they understand, because Sony was definitely, they had a hand in the creation of this story. They did. And in the creation of the story,
it was very much a don't kill Uncle Ben. It's very much, stuff like that.
Yeah, like Marvel had the creative control. Sony had a hand in the story, and Sony was the final person to go, the final entity to go yes or no, because we're writing the checks and we own the character. Now, something that I think is really interesting, and I want to we can talk a little bit about, and I want to get like a whole group of people to talk about it, is the Marvel, the Sony-Marvel universe thing, right? And because like the past few weeks we've been, and this is funny because I was in Russia. I was in Russia when this stuff blew up, and like I'm making small videos when I can, in between class or whatever. But like the Venom movie and all the Spider-Man spinoffs, Amy Pascal said that they will be adjuncts and be kind of like pockets to the Spider-Man Homecoming.
Like she doesn't get it in a way. It's like for her, I think she doesn't. And even if you've seen, excuse me, one of the funniest things I've seen from Kevin Feige, when those leaked Sony conversations got leaked, and you see Feige's conversation. Feige is like, I'm gonna speak to you how Feige was like emailing her. Hey, The Amazing Spider-Man has a lot of story threads. Would you like to cut them down? Question mark. She'll reply, like what? He'll write a long ass list. Yeah, like just a suggestion, Yeah. So I think when he's working with her hands on now, he's kind of like, sometimes I genuinely think she does not get how when she's like, it'll be in the Marvel universe, lady. We got 3, we got 4, we got 5.
And that's
so
where,
do you get, like, do you understand?
And that's where. So I'll elaborate. Number one, Sony is good there. I feel it. If you say that your movie is in the MCU or is a part of the MCU, you already got an audience, regardless.
Exactly. There you go.
Of if it's bad or good, whatever. Number 2, it's a Venom movie.
People are coming out.
You got more people. Number 3, it's rated R. You got more people.
You got more people.
Now, this is the thing that, because a lot of people were discrediting her and saying she doesn't know what she's talking about, when she's the one that. She is the person. When I say, wait, let me just because let me reinforce. I'm not saying that in the sense of she doesn't. I mean, maybe she doesn't understand the way that people are using the vocabulary. But I think she doesn't. I think she's doing it on purpose in a misleading way. But some people were saying she's confused and everything. Now, she is the reason why the Spider-Man Marvel deal happened. She was the CEO at the time, or was CEO?
Not CEO, but she was like the head of something.
Head of Sony Pictures. That's right. She was the head at the time, and she's the one whose name was she signed on the contract. She's the one that did that. Now, what I really think is happening is that the Venom, first of all, Spider-Man is going to appear in the spinoff movies. That's happening, and people say he's not.
Did they say he wasn't? I think they recently did.
There's one article, and this is the first article that
that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
That ever mentioned the fact that Spider-Man wouldn't appear. Out of all as long as we've been getting this information and people's been saying Spider-Man wouldn't appear, that had never been there until now, and that's one article. Yeah. But I think the article is wrong. I think that Spider-Man will appear because it's a spinoff of Spider-Man. And
you know what? I think he'll appear, but it will not be an actor. It'll be a visual representation.
We won't need to see the face of Peter Parker. We won't see the face of Peter Parker.
You're exactly how I'm thinking.
I do think, and if you asked me back in February, you would have gotten a completely different answer. I would have said it's going to be separate, blah, 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 blah. I think that we are going to get the Spider-Man suit that is in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and it's going to be put in that movie purposefully to mislead fans.
I'm not sure. At the same time,
Marvel Cinematic Universe.
I feel like they'll do it very vaguely. Like they'll do something like a CGI montage, or it doesn't matter the art style. They'll be like, "Oh, we came to be because we were once with one guy," and then they'll pan out, and you'll see either the eyes or the spider symbol. Maybe you'll see the back of him, but you'll see something that represents Spider-Man. It won't be too visually. Like I don't know what to compare it to. Like did you watch Wonder Woman?
No, I haven't seen that yet.
Oh, what's another film that does it? Some movies start off and they do that kind of montage where they tell a story, but it's with animation, and the figures they're talking about, like they can be Greek gods or whatever. They're not too definitive with their look, but you know what it is. I think it's gonna be in that vein, if you know what I mean. Like I think it's gonna be kind of like that. I don't feel like they're gonna, because it's still, the deal is there, and I'm sure because every deal you're working off of leverage. So I think Feige has very good pull right now. Like because have you seen the pictures? Spider-Man: Homecoming has the highest Rotten Tomatoes score since Iron Man 1.
Really?
Yeah. So when it comes to pull, he can, because when you negotiate, especially in that field, it's all, well, hey, look, my movie did this, and I'm making this, and I'm doing that, and doing that. This is but so I'm saying, when it comes to the deal,
but Sony is, at the end of the day, Sony is
the host,
they own the rights. They paid Tom Holland's check. They're the ones that have him. The contract with them, so they could do technically this Spider-Man Homecoming, Spider-Man Detention, Spider-Man Hall Monitor, Hall Sweep, whatever the sequel would be. That movie could be made and have the same cast and not be connected to the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
The thing is, we know the talks are happening, so we can hope that there'll be a little more cohesiveness, because I'm sure you've heard apparently the Avengers Tower was getting sold. Guess to who? Osborn.
You know who that's being sold to.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So we're moving more Spider-esque while staying in the MCU. So I'm like, there has to be the talks there. I appreciate so much that they'd even have the liberty to be like, no, we're moving this and putting the Oscorp Tower there. You know what I mean? Like he bought it, like stuff like that. I'm like, okay, again, you're reinforcing the Spidey lore upon us, and I like that. But I'm glad the talks are happening. Venom is not that off of its feet. Yeah, they have an actor. Yeah, they have do they have a director?
They have a director, and they have a director.
Yeah, they have a writer. But we have heard nothing of we're filming. We've had nothing of a filming date, stuff like that. So it's
they're supposed to be filming this October.
They did? They already gave a date?
Well, is it this October, just later this year? And maybe just later this year.
Yeah, when they do shit like that, we're talking. we're still talking about it,
But they got some information that came out about the movie today, and somebody in the chat, the entire of our live stream has been saying this, and I've been just reading it. Mega Geek has been saying this over and over. I think he wants us to talk about it. The fact that the Venom movie is a comedy. Amy Pascal said that the Venom movie is going to be a comedy.
You guys ever played the original Spider-Man on the PlayStation?
Yes.
Not the movie version.
Yes, I love that game so much.
Remember when Venom would just say stupid shit?
The freaking best. Dude, like surf the web. Oh my God.
Time to surf the web. I'm imagining that in my head. I'm like, oh God. Oh God.
Hey, that could be pretty sweet, especially if it's
I'm not gonna say anything yet, because I hate rooting for a movie negatively. So what I'm gonna say is I hope that the talks happen, and I hope that for not what I desire, But for the sake of modern moviegoers and the casual goer, they know what the hell is going on because they're tuned in. But when they see shit like that happen, when they're like, hey, Spider-Man just started, so how did this happen? Or Black Cat's getting her own movie, but I haven't seen her in Spider-Man. Who is she? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, so those questions are good because when you will not believe how many people fucking still say Black Spider-Man.
Yep.
You have no idea. People in the theater will be like, that's Black Spider. Venom is not in their head sometimes. So at the same time, there's still, though there's going to be that familiarity from shows and stuff like that, but still there are going to be a good amount of people like Venom.
Venom, who's that?
What's that?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's going to be a good number.
So but I hope for the sake of everyone, at least that we know. In
the Venom movie, though, they're going to introduce all of those characters.
You think?
Oh, yeah.
That sounds honestly like genuinely. It sounds like it
can't have a Silver Sable and Black Cat movie.
That sounds like a shit storm.
People don't know who that, but
and I hear it and I understand it, but I'm just dude.
But I mean, we can talk. People complain all the time about too many characters, too many villains.
That's not even my worry, but it's the purpose in which you're putting them there.
I mean, the purpose, they could actually serve the story for Venom.
And Silver Sable hunting Venom, okay, but Black Cat and Venom, have we even seen them interact in a comic book?
Yeah, we have. Yeah, I think it's gonna be Spider-Man, Silver Sable, Black Cat, and Venom and Carnage all in this movie.
I don't know, man. And I hate to be that guy that's
you have to set up that it's connected to Spider-Man. You have to set up that Silver Sable and Black Cat exist in this universe because people don't know who they are. Like you have to do that.
Man, what I've said it, and I'm not sure if you've said it also. Jesus Christ, do I wish that Sony just said, we want to keep making money, so let's make standalones. Let's make Elseworld stories. Because if they did that, and I kid you not, I would be behind it 100 times more. If they went and said, Spider-Gwen. Oh. Spider-Man 2099. Oh. Venom, Lethal Protector. Whoa. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it doesn't sound like I'm making a universe. It sounds like hey, though this is all money at the end of the day, let's throw it to some creators and let's tell some stories that's different. Let's give you a new flavor. You know what I mean? And I know that's not going to happen until one of the big two does it. Until we see either the MCU or Fox or someone go and start doing Elseworld stories. I don't know, man. The R rating thing took a while to pick up, and it's only because Marvel did it. Not Marvel Studios, but Marvel. It has to be one of the big two to solidify a trend. And honestly, I think, I hope that happens. I want to see Elseworld stories in film.
I don't know. I mean, it would. The Marvel universe, the cinematic universe thing, not even just Marvel. That cinematic universe thing is really
appealing, and it makes money. But you gotta. But the idea that you can cover new ground and not be limited to any continuity, that is fascinating to me.
Yeah.
Because it opens up such a new door. And now it's like, you can do anything. And that's why sometimes when we have movies like Homecoming, where we have freaking Aunt May, no, he's Spider-Man, we're like, what? Because we're thinking about the continuity and what we have to look forward to. So when we have just a Elseworld story where we're doing some other, something else, when we have Spider-Man 2099 and we have a Spider-Man that's taking up the mantle because he idolizes the Spider-Man that once was, people are gonna be like, what? It's kind of that step back, like this isn't what I'm used to. I mean, Venom sounded much better before I heard the word comedy. I didn't know that news came out today, and it's very depressing to hear. Comedy, that's the worst word you could ever use there.
Yeah.
You can say, don't even say it'll be funny. Just let me see a joke.
Right.
Someone went out, Logan is funny. Logan is funny, but if you told me Logan was funny before I went into Logan, I'd be looking at you like, what?
What? Exactly.
You know, so I'm hoping. I always hope that people mess up their words when I hear something stupid. You know,
Well, Amy Pascal, she had said like how the writers wrote Zombieland, and or the director directed Zombieland, and
that's another thing.
that was
That's a
funny.
weird. Is that not a weird pick for you?
Yeah, I mean that's old as hell.
It's not even that. I don't care about the dated stuff, but
I do.
a Venom. No, because Patty you didn't watch Wonder Woman yet, but Patty Jenkins hasn't done a film in like 15 years.
But was she chosen? And
Yeah.
did people talk like did DC regard her like? I mean, she did this other movie way back.
It wasn't like that, but I'm just saying, like in terms of you can do a movie and it's been a little bit of time, but still have the prowess.
But this isn't the last. Zombieland isn't the last movie that man has done.
Yeah, but at the same time, I'm thinking of like the movies that he's done that really have stuck.
Right.
And the greatest movie that I like Zombieland. So I'm thinking Zombieland, Venom. Zombieland, Venom. There is something that doesn't match up. This is just in my head. So I'm very interested to see your interpretation of Venom, buddy. Yeah. But I didn't imagine you nailing the job.
No.
That's the only thing. I'm like, the thing about this, I hate the reason why we get this stuff. It could just happen and sound wacky as hell, but now that we know, because within their first announcement was, we're making our own universe, I start to look at you a different way. And even the monster universe that they were creating for what's it called, for the Mummy.
Yeah.
I was okay with the universe, but once I saw that article saying we're creating a universe, I was like, oh, you know, it gives it that connotation, like, okay, you know, we just moved from Homecoming to the, but you know, it is worth talking about because we have to talk about the logistics of that deal. Is it going to continue? From what I assume from reading the way that Kevin Feige emails, I'm going to assume that we're still on good talking terms. They're still working with one another. Every interview is with one another. And I've heard that in the newer interviews, they're starting to finally match up with what they want to say. So, I mean, my biggest thing is I don't want to see this cut short because, yeah, and I understand why fans are like, please don't take it away because, again, the deal that no one saw happened. And it feels too sweet to be true, so nobody really wants it to be taken away. So I'm hoping the Spider-Man deal stays intact.
Mm-hmm.
And again,
I think it will. I do think it will. I think that it's going to be changed a little bit so that Sony makes money. Of when Spider-Man appears. But maybe not.
But again, I'm like, I don't get it because Marvel still doesn't have any rights. You're making all the box office. So it's like this entire deal is benefiting you. And I still don't understand why they would want to make, another universe when, dude, Spidey opened to like 10 mil the day before opening. Today, people are saying it's tracking to do 100 mil first day. You know, like you're doing good. Not only it looks like you're going to do good financially. Not only that, but critically, you're doing great.
But the thing is that Sony, Sony Pictures is financially not where they were 10.
Oh yeah, that's a big thing too. PlayStation is like the only thing keeping them dudes afloat.
Yeah, so they sold the merchandising rights to this character, and what they sold. Or basically, they sold the rights to something that makes more money than all of the other things equivalent combined. Mm-hmm. They sold the rights to that, so they don't make money from that. So then, if you only make money from ticket sales, which is the lowest thing that you can make money from when it comes to this character, this property, you're gonna have as many movies as you possibly can. And if you got a character showing up in other movies and you're not making money from it, it's like, okay, but we still need to keep our lights on. And it's not like a few years ago they was about to go bankrupt, but it's not like they're at that level now, but they're still not in place. That's why they got Tom Rothman, because Tom Rothman saved 20th Century Fox from going bankrupt. And Tom Rothman is a businessman. That's why people don't like him, because because he will make money. He is cheap. He will make money. He will say, well, we're gonna put out this bad X-Men movie because it's gonna make money. Like, we gonna save this money and we're gonna do this instead of
Let's talk box office just a little bit. Spider-Man, I think it's going to be one of the biggest box offices it's going to have since probably, what was the highest they went? Did Spider-Man 2 make $1 billion?
I think. Here we'll look. Spider-Man.
Yeah. To everyone saying it's going to destroy Wonder Woman, Wonder Woman is a beast. Wonder Woman, box office wise, is a beast.
Really?
That drop off, it's still doing so well. If you look at her statistics, compare it to any other superhero movie, that drop off is so low.
Really?
Wonder Woman is not, it's different from Spider-Man, man. The impact of the first female led comic movie in this modern era is something that's going to keep it striving. And along with it has good critical buzz and good, and it has good critical buzz. That's another good thing that's pushing it forward. So I know it's still in theaters where I am. It doesn't look like WB wants to take it out for a while. So, I mean, I also think it's a really good movie. So I'm happy for it. I don't think
see it.
It's great.
I cannot wait to see it. Will I be able to see? No. I was like, will I be able to see it tomorrow? No, tomorrow I'm gonna be gone. I'm definitely gonna see it though. Cause
you looking at the box office stuff? Do you know what the highest one?
The highest one I see is Spider-Man 3, which is what I was guessing.
How much is that?
$890.9 million.
I genuinely think it might top that. Am I stupid for thinking that? I'm thinking just marketing wise. The best critical buzz of any Marvel movie since Iron Man, Spider-Man in the MCU, Iron Man is in the movie, star power of Michael Keaton and Robert Downey Jr. also.
Yeah.
I'm just looking at those factors. I'm like,
and the movie's good.
I think you're good.
Yeah.
I think that it's going to make so much money that Sony I don't know if they're going to change their movie plans, but they'll definitely be like, oh shit, this deal is paying off.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they definitely are going to see that. And I think that Spider-Man was already being placed in the position of being the face of Marvel post Infinity War. Mm-hmm. But like, I think this is going to really push that even further.
Definitely the new generation of heroes.
Yeah. There's something that I wanted to talk about. This is kind of moving away from where we were just at with the deal and the box office and stuff, but it's still interesting. For me, I think that it being the origin had to do with this decision, but I think that it was not an accident that Spider-Man in the first movie, Homecoming, was placed in Queens and not in Manhattan. He did not go to Manhattan. And I think that was not an accident. And do you know what I'm getting at? Because
somewhat.
He's not the only character in New York.
Yeah.
And I so like earlier you had mentioned
also I think we got to factor in Sony in the ear telling you don't tread ground. Like, we need you to do different shit. So guess what? He's in Queens, swinging off a Queens building. There are times where he has no freaking webs and he just has to sprint.
Right.
And he's like, it sucks.
Yeah, he does that. But I think that the sequel, sequel, of course, we're gonna be in Manhattan. He's gonna experience.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, he's also scared of heights. I forgot about that.
Yeah. I think though that it is very much possible that we will get a Netflix superhero in the Spider-Man. Now I want to hear what you have to say. I want to hear your opinion.
Want that. I was the number one. I was the number one. Listen to Feige. He says it's coming. It's coming. Relax. But then I looked into that clash between him and Ike. Ike is one freaking horrible, stubborn person.
We're talking about the CEO, right?
Yeah, he still controls those things.
Yeah, the recluse.
There's a reason why it's taken so long, and Feige, every time you ask him, goes, well, you know, schedules, and it's coming. It's all about the right time. Dude, let me tell you a story about Ike. Ike and Avi Arad, the guy that you all know for Spider-Man, shoving Venom in there, they made Marvel boatloads of money in the 90s and 80s with toys.
Mm-hmm.
So the toys are being made in China. Ike and Avi go, of course, we have to pay those guys. It kind of sucks, right? So they go for this loophole. Since they're getting paid for making dolls, they categorized every superhero that they were creating as a mutant, and they were not human in nature, so they were no longer a doll. They went to the Supreme Court and argued this, just so they would not have to pay the Chinese people. That shows you the links of Ike Perlmutter. This guy clashed with Kevin Feige. There's a reason why you couldn't. My little brother wanted a Black Widow Age of Ultron toy. He's not finding that Black Widow Age of Ultron toy because they are nowhere to be found. They're rare as hell. Why? Ike doesn't think a lot of boys want to play with Black Widow toys, but as you see, my little brother very much wanted to. He doesn't. He stopped female villains. He stopped a lot of diversity from happening. It's a lot that he did that's his fault, that Marvel was behind, especially on the first female hero thing.
Right.
I guarantee you, if he wasn't there, Captain Marvel would be around. I guarantee, dude, that guy is that much of a no. Don't think we want women in this one. Iron Man 3. Hey, we have this idea for a female villain, and you can look this up. They wanted a female villain for Iron Man 3. Yeah, don't think people want that. Sorry, no. What? So Kevin Feige was beefing with that guy, and when Marvel Studios finally split, and now they're under Disney and not under Marvel Entertainment, Ike was like, remember those shows we made? Yeah, what do you think is going to happen to those? What crossover is happening?
So you don't think it's going to happen?
Not till Ike is gone. And you know what? One, don't make me sound horrible. He's old.
He's going to die.
Not saying deaf, but retirement is around the corner. The guy is a horrible person. So, not saying I would never wish death upon anyone, but he is getting old. So maybe the position will change in the next 5 to 10 years. The CEO,
that man's gonna
maybe. I'm not hoping that. No, but hopefully the position could change in 5 to 10 years. He's getting older. It's likely that he'll retire soon.
Like 76, I think. Here, let me see.
Yeah, so it's likely that he'll retire sooner or later.
Look him up.
And when the CEO changes, if it isn't someone of the same characteristics of Ike, then we can look forward to change, especially in that area. There have been cases where speak to writers that work on Marvel films, and they just will ignore shit that happens in the TV shows.
Yeah.
It's been caught. Like they ask the Civil War writers, hey, why didn't you guys speak about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and how they worked to help do whatever they were doing that season in regards to Hydra? What show? That's in this thing? Oh, okay. That's how they responded. Seriously, to questions from an interviewer. So we got to wait on Ike. That's the big thing. We got to wait on Ike. I seriously think that if it's not one, him and Feige meld that relationship somehow, then two, it's going to be like, we're going to have to wait for you to get out of that chair.
So let me ask you something. Do you think that it's a contract thing? Is it a legal thing?
It's an executive thing. Because Marvel Studios, there's a reason why you don't see the Marvel Studios logo on those shows,
right?
But you see Marvel Entertainment. So it's not like their thing in a way. Yeah, they say I think that if you've noticed with these kind of somewhat newer shows, like after that split, they're not enforcing the MCU too much. Remember the Runaways, not the Runaways, Cloak and Dagger? Is there anything that tells you this is in the MCU other than we knew that a Cloak and Dagger show was in development for a while?
Is that in the?
No, there was a trailer, dude.
Yeah, that trailer. I mean, I thought the trailer was pretty lame.
I thought it was pretty lame, but that shit didn't say. It wasn't no after the event in New York. Hulk, we have monsters jumping around. It was nothing, dude. It was nothing at all. And I think that that's very telling.
So then, wait a minute. So what do you think happened? Inhumans was originally going to be a movie.
That was Ike's baby, not Feige's. Feige didn't like that. He didn't like the idea of we're going to make our own X-Men because they have the X-Men over there. If you noticed, Ike has pull in Marvel Comics also. Yeah. So he tells them to do shit. Yeah. So if you notice, right? Ike was like, hey, Inhuman books, I want more. And the X-Men slowly got pushed out of Marvel Comics, and the Inhumans pushed it. That was a couple of years before even that Inhumans slate popped up. So now that the Inhumans are on there, it screams the Marvel CEO, because every time Feige would talk about it, of course, he didn't sound dismissive because Feige is he knows how to speak with interviews. So he didn't really sound dismissive, but you could tell, you could tell who was doing this. So when that split happened again, boop, off the upcoming films. And when that left, we knew. Like, again, we know. So I think we got some time for that stuff, man. And you know what? Maybe I don't want to say it's for because I have loved every story they've told on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. along with I've loved the Netflix shows except Iron Fist. I hate that show.
I haven't seen that yet either.
I do love seriously what they're doing with the Netflix stuff. And I wish that they could cross over, but at the same time, I don't think that it's at their detriment that they don't right now. The only thing is, it's going to be the pain in the ass of like 20 people in a room with a chalkboard and trying to figure out how to fit them back in whenever they get their that relationship amended. But Feige does not like Ike. Ike does not like Feige.
But Ike is still Feige's boss.
He has no pull in Marvel Studios is a Disney.
It's its own company, but so
they report to Disney.
It's just a subsidiary of Marvel by name, or
it's a subsidiary of Disney, but with the Marvel name.
Okay.
It's kind of weird, but you know that you can see it because there's a reason why they did that intro change. When they throw that studios on there. And at first it was just to say, hey, this is our movie department, but now it's to say we are not anything else. So they report to, who's the Disney boss? Bob something, whoever his name is. That CEO of Disney is who they report to, I think.
Wow.
Yeah. It's better for them because, like I said, I don't think that a lot of what's happening now would have happened, genuinely.
But if Disney wanted it, then it could happen. Because Disney owns it.
Yeah, Disney has more pull, but even Disney is much more open to diversity and female villains and stuff. They've been doing it since like the 90s. Not to say that Disney has never done anything wrong. I know Disney has a history of doing some shady stuff, but they've been much more. They're not like Ike, where they'll be like, don't think people want that. Sorry. We're not going to make too many of these toys. Sorry. You know what I mean?
Wow.
That story I told you, that was the icing on the goddamn cake. You went to the Supreme Court to argue that your superheroes were not human, so they were not a doll. What?
Those are business people. Like I work.
It is. I understand it, but morally,
they are. Yeah.
Morally, just thinking of that story, it's like, God damn it, man! Holy crap! Oh my God. Getting back to Homecoming, can we talk about Spider-Man straight steals a car in this movie? He has to take down a bad guy that's importing alien weaponry. It's okay. He stole the car.
With the endings, Scorpion. Now I was Michael Mando. I would never had ever thought. I never would have thought that he was Matt Gargan. And I remember like last week it came out that he was Matt Gargan, and I was like, what? And I forgot about it until I saw the movie last night. So what do you think is the hint at the end?
What do you mean in terms of, I got some boys, they got some beef with them too?
Yeah, is
more villains coming? More villains that you recognize coming?
Do you think it is the Sinister Six?
Not yet. A couple, not the six. I don't think the full-on six. It won't be the definitive six, if you know what I mean. This is not Green Goblin, Doc Ock side by side with this, that, whatever, with Sandman and stuff. You know what I mean? They said like officially, this is going to be nothing but villains that you haven't seen before. So I expect a Kraven. I expect the Mysterio.
Yeah.
I expect the Tinkerer maybe to make them stuff.
Yeah.
Who else? The Enforcers would be an interesting thing.
I have a phone call. Keep talking.
Okay. Tombstone maybe. I don't know if they're gonna do crime boss stuff with Spidey yet. I want that, but I don't know. Alarb, the porn joke. The porn joke is. It started a lot of awkward conversations in that theater with a lot of parents. I feel bad for them. Matt Gargan was fucking scary. Dude, I thought that was like Zaz from Batman when I first saw him. I was like, who is this? But then I saw the scorpion tattoo and I was like, oh, okay, there you go. Kraven the Hunter. I think they're going to use Kraven, yeah. Somebody said that
there was actually an Easter egg for Kraven in the movie.
There wasn't. Was it in the movie or did they cut it out? Yes or no?
It may have been cut out, but I've wanted.
It was on that set. You saw the photo, right?
When he gets the bike, and it was one of those stores that was on.
I think that they didn't. I think that they shot it and they wanted it to be an Easter egg, and someone said something.
Yeah.
Because if you heard, Sony was like, "Oh, we want to use Kraven in one of our movies." Somebody was probably like, shit, cut that out. I think that was intentional. If that was on the set, they wanted it to be on camera. They wanted it to be. They wanted it to be. And even Tom in that interview, didn't you say you caught him and they asked him, who'd you think would be the next villain? He said Kraven or something along those lines.
They asked him, who did he want?
Mm-hmm.
And he mentioned Kraven. And I think it's when he mentioned it, he looked over because before, like, he was cussing and sometimes he would look over like, oh, I'm so sorry, Sony, I'm so sorry. But like he said Kraven and then looked over and paused and then kept talking. So like they know they did something. They were like they did something.
Yeah, they do that. Like, hold on. Tom is he's a funny dude because he just has a running mouth and people always give him shit for it.
He's a kid.
He's a young kid. I love it. I do love it.
Because I mean, if I was in that situation, I wouldn't be saying nothing. They asked me a question. I don't know. I can't answer it because I'm gonna
pull a Jeremy Renner. Oh, I'm in that movie. What?
Yeah.
Dude, doing interviews with him has to be the pain in the ass because he's not even clever about it. At least Robert Downey is clever with it, but he's just like Robert Downey will be like, oh, I think it's above my pay grade, dude. But he'll be like, what? I'm in that? What? Excuse me? Like he treats you like an idiot, and you feel bad after the interview.
I've never seen a Jeremy Renner interview.
Look up his interview. There was one for Infinity War with him, and they were just asking questions. What? I'm in there?
That's how.
What are you talking about? Well, he talks like Hawkeye, so I don't know. Imagine Hawkeye saying it. That's how he speaks, man.
Jeremy Renner do we think are they gonna kill him?
You know what? I don't know. I like Hawkeye quite a bit, especially his Civil War suit is very good. I don't know. I know Vision's dead. I saw a picture of Iron Man fighting Doctor Strange, but it's obviously not going to be lethal.
I saw. Is that with him on?
You saw that, right? It's like him.
I just saw, and
Wong and versus Iron Man.
Okay, no, I saw, and I didn't click on it, but it was Doctor Strange is laying on the ground.
I saw that one too. I saw quite a couple of those.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Okay, let me read this chat and find a topic.
There. Something else. So way back when the titles for the Spider-Man movies or for the title for Spider-Man Homecoming leaked, it didn't leak. It was just the domain was registered. There was also Spider-Man Suspended, which is funny because I've been saying Spider-Man Detention.
It could have probably been. They register domains a lot in that industry, so it could have been, look, these are the names we're throwing around. We need to make sure these are purchased. Like Aquaman, before they even announced the movie, that act was like someone secured the account on Twitter. Look up Aquaman movie. It's gonna have like 2 followers, probably like me and one other guy, but that's WB that secured that shit. Like they do weird stuff like that. Like they're playing with the title,
right?
Well, they'll just secure the domain and stuff like that. So I don't know if they're gonna. I don't think they're gonna name the next.
I think so. Right. Well, the 4, just in case, the 4 domains that they registered was Spider-Man Homecoming, Spider-Man Suspended movie, Spider-Man Homecoming movie, Spider-Man Suspended movie, Spider-Man Greatness Awaits movie, and then Spider-Man Coming of Age movie.
This all sounds like working titles for the first. Only one that doesn't sound like it would work is Suspended. Because it has no, like, I don't get it. Like he got detention.
It's like Homecoming. Detention, suspension.
I'm trying to think. Every other one sounds like it could work here. Look, Greatness Awaits. Okay,
I feel like Spider-Man Suspended could work more than Spider-Man Greatness Awaits.
But I could hear where. But why suspended though?
Because he got suspended. He was skipping school.
But he got detention.
But it's like now he's suspended. Now you can't go to school.
I don't know. It's hard.
They made Spider-Man Homecoming. Okay. So
but Homecoming is such a play on a bunch of things.
Yeah, and it's
suspended is what?
Just suspended from a web.
They took your suit away, suspended.
Suspended from a web, suspended from school. I don't know.
Yeah.
There's a whole bunch of things. Oh, and something else. And I think that they're going to eventually, Peter is going to make his own suit, and it will be designed. The design will be based off of the Tony Stark design, but it'll be like without all the technology.
You know what I think? I think that again we'll get something very classic in a way. Maybe even if it's without the black accents or the logo is different or whatever. If he does anything else, because I know that I can see that there are some things that Peter likes design-wise of the suit. For example, the way that he can quickly get cartridges.
Yeah.
I know he likes the AI. It was a cute scene when they talked. Yeah. Even though I thought, what did he name her?
Aaron.
Yeah, she was flirting with him a couple times.
She was.
What is Mr. Stark putting in his kid's suit? He needs a guy. He can't be flirting with his AI. Well, he didn't flirt. She was, well, Peter, if I was there, I would always be your friend. Or she said some shit like that.
She said that she would be happy that he liked her or something like that. It was
but the funniest part she said is when he saved Liz.
Yeah.
Your time, Peter. Kiss her.
Dude, that was funny. And I was kind of like, what? Like
I was like, what is AI? Is this new? She can use some refinement, Stark.
What is this? Like, okay, what
I mean, I don't know. I feel like maybe he'll just keep the same suit but make design changes of his own. If he can try to, like, he'll go and disable all the shit he doesn't like and maybe take away the black accents, because the thing that I do like about this suit is how it feels so classic.
Right.
So maybe if they're gonna go for that again, because I expect a costume change of some sort. All of these movies do it. I expect something to be different. I don't know what will be different, but something.
Do you think that he will eventually get the black suit in the MCU?
Again, dependent on how that deal manifests, what's going on MCU wise with the Venom movie, because that I don't think they might stay away from it because just how confusing that would be for people. This guy already got the symbiote before you. So how did he inhabit the spider powers? But now if they say there was a Spider-Man before then, so you just didn't want to say anything about you having that? Or
what if the Venom movie is in the future?
What if it's in the future? Again, you're tripping people out. It's like when you're reading a comic and then they randomly do an arc in the past and they don't announce it. And it's just like, what the whoa, where are we at?
It's like Homecoming took place 8 years after.
I heard there's some continuity errors there.
Yeah, it is.
That's some you think that's some retconning?
Because Avengers was 2012.
I think that's some retconning.
Maybe it had to do with they wanted to connect the Iron Man 2. I don't know. That doesn't make sense to me because
maybe they wanted to
2012 and Civil War was 2016. 8 plus 12 is like that doesn't equal.
Someone has to answer. Why did you retcon that? Maybe they're trying to give some more time for the non-movie products to somewhat get their due. Because remember, the Marvel Netflix have all gone by the event that happened a couple months ago. Right. So maybe they're trying to help sustain that in hopes that they'll get them. Maybe, I don't know, because they don't ever do like a blatant failure, especially when there's so many executive hands in there. So this is a retcon, but why?
I think it could have to do with the fact that Infinity War, in that time, Peter Parker will be he'll be as a junior, and that movie's coming out in 2018, and in 2019, Spider-Man 2 is coming out, and that's supposed to take place minutes after. So it could be that they're trying to make up some time so that it's not that Infinity War is taking place in 2017. And Spider-Man 2 is taking place in 2017 and 2019. They could be doing that.
This is so weird. I have to try and wonder. This still takes place after Civil War. They never had the idea of selling the Stark Tower before this film, so I definitely do think Osborn bought that shit. But
oh yeah, and I
thought they probably didn't want to do it. I wanted some snarky dialogue, like Mr. Stark being like, "Who is this hot shot that thinks he can buy me out of my own building?" Like, sure, it got blown up, but still, you know what I mean? Like, I was hoping for some of that, but again, I understand Sony's in the air. Do not mention anything we did before. You know?
But I think that with the Goblin and all that, I definitely think that Osborn is going to show up.
I think it's gonna be like the third one. I've been watching you, kind of.
That Osborn will be at least mentioned in the second one.
Okay, yeah, I agree.
I think that he's going to become a villain for the entire universe. I think it'll be like his team versus the Avengers. I've been really and
I like those stories. What's that story that happened?
That was the Dark Avengers, right?
What is that arc? Someone in the chat knows it. There's one where literally Norman Osborn goes against fucking like the entire Marvel universe.
Oh yeah, and he gets the was it the Infinity Gauntlet or is it what did he get? He got
something.
He got something.
Yeah. That was a cool story. I think I remember it a little bit.
Yeah, but I think that like he's going to, and they set it up, and I've been talking about this on my channel for like over a year now, and they set it up in with Civil War, and it continued in Homecoming with the Vulture. His whole thing being that these superheroes are like ruining our lives, and I think that they're going to continue with like 2. I always love
that angle you went towards, that Norman was targeting the entire, not just but what I also like though, because again, following the source material that they like to follow, Norman's big thing is, I made the spider that bit you, you are mine. So I'd love if he's watching him over these films and he's kind of waiting for the right time to strike. Maybe.
I don't think they're gonna do that though, because that sounds
Good,
like
but
what they
how
were
will it
trying.
be?
No, and not that it sounds good, because that's originally what they were planning on doing with the Amazing Spider-Man.
But they did it in such a again, the nature of that movie is weird. They had such a powerful actor for Norman one, but they still said we're gonna kill you and use your head. And
That
did
was
they want to? Did they want to connect it to a fucking like a robot body or something?
I think they were that was gonna be the excuse for them to do the Ultimate Goblin.
Jesus
They were
Christ!
gonna mutate him, and
Why
he
don't
was
you
going
just
to
do Ultimate?
grow.
Is a lot of what this universe is. So say I was trying to make a super soldier serum and fucked up.
They're gonna go that route, but I hope that they go the route of they continue with these heroes are actually ruining our lives, and Norman Osborn becomes the person, the beacon for these heroes need to stop. They need to register. They need to stop, whatever. And he comes with his own task force, who are a group of superpower people, to take down the heroes.
Maybe the enforcers. That'd be cool.
And I think, and what could end up happening is there's already a personal connection with Peter Parker and Spider-Man, and it could be that I made you thing. But once Norman Osborn is defeated, because I think of Norman Osborn, he's a very egotistical person, and once he's defeated, he'd be defeated by Peter Parker. There's this mental break where it's like, what? Like, this kid just beat me. My creation just beat me. We can go that route as well. And that's what would start the, like, I guess, Spider-Man 4 or whatever, where that
could spin directly into Death of Spider-Man, because at the point in the Ultimate Comics, he got beat and he was in jail, but he was just like left to his head, and he was like, oh, when I bust out of here, I'm coming straight for you, kid. I always knew who you were. I respect, like, even it could be something dramatic where like Keaton wants to leave the franchise, so instead of him killing Doc Ock, he kills Keaton for the details of who he really is and that stuff. But I still, there's also a nice brilliance to when it comes to Norman knowing that a kid got bit by his spider. Yeah. Even if it's not in the ultimate vein of things where he thinks that it's his property, but it's those little things that I always liked about some of Spidey's villains, where they just know shit. Like Doc Ock still knows that Peter is Spider-Man now, but he kind of keeps it to himself.
Do you think that so you said that the Sinister Six not yet?
Hold up. Just gonna get this thing in the comics. Please don't do Death of Spider-Man. Peter and Miles can coexist. You do realize that the intention was for Peter to return. You saw in the original comic a figure, leave, like survive. You saw a shadow. Peter lived.
Yeah, Peter did, and then he came back and he had a conversation.
He came back, but Bendis never expected them to end that universe. If that universe never ended, we literally could have gotten a very, I think, profound story. Because the thing that I was loving about Miles is like he was speaking to Mary Jane, he was speaking to Aunt May, and it was legacy, but in a very touching way, because as a reader, you're like, man, these are the supporting cast of that guy that I loved, and he's no longer here. And you're open to this kid taking up the mantle because his family is okay with it. So I think when Peter Parker returns, that is an interesting way to bring it. Yeah, I don't think that he can be resurrected in the MCU. I still think that I'm not throwing out resurrections. Ultron head in this movie.
Yeah.
An Ultron head is in this movie.
Yeah,
I think that was a little hint to something. Would you say? I think that was that had to be. They didn't just throw that in there for the sake of whatever.
So what are you getting at?
Red Skull still out there. Who's saying he can't come back?
No, I definitely think that he is.
Ultron is infamous for coming back. Peter wouldn't be in his 20s at all, wouldn't be a good mentor. Remember that we get a Spider-Man movie every 2 years and we're growing with him? The trilogy won't be done till like 2022.
See, I don't think they're going to
age him up that quick. I don't think they'll age him up that quickly either, but when Peter Parker gets experience by like 22, 23.
Yeah. But
it's not like he's like 30 years old. Like he's not like a Batman where it takes him to be like 35.
But I don't think they're even like, if they do Miles Morales, which I think it's very possible that they will, I don't think they're going to go the Death of Spider-Man route.
I don't either. I always want it because when you read that story in the comic books, like it's still one of the most flawless deaths in comic books. So perfectly executed emotionally. So I always hope, because I never thought they'd do the death of Wolverine, but they did it. You know what I mean? So like,
I never read that.
It's a great story. It's a great story. I recommend it. But you know, stuff like that where I just didn't expect it. I'm hope Marvel is going to keep evolving, and a lot of people forget that competition is key to evolution.
Right.
You know, going a little bit too philosophical, but in animals, we didn't evolve until we were challenged by our environments, and our needs. The genre will continue to evolve with competition. When an Elseworlds film gets made, you can hold me to this. When an Elseworlds film gets made by one of the big two, everyone will follow. And then they'll be like, okay, guys, it's fine. We can just make our story. Boom, boom, boom. Why do you think the R rating stuck so quick? Now we're supposed to make R-rated films. Don't forget that Watchmen was made. 300 was made. But now that we're doing it in the common ilk, now it's acceptable.
Yep. So
I'm looking forward to that. And again, the death of Peter Parker, it's not like we're killing him off for some time. It's his return. I always liked, and it was going to go somewhere. The Ultimate Universe got destroyed, so we never got to see that story. But just looking at the rest of Bendis's run, I think that there's no way you can say that he wasn't going to make a great story.
Right. But I think it'd be interesting that for them to go the mentor route. But I don't think they're going to do the same thing with Miles Morales being young. I think Miles Morales is going to get his
older
at like 18. I think
I don't know.
I think that because then you're just
redoing. Yes, I just thought about that. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
What's already happened.
Yeah, you're right.
I think that they're going to get, if they do Miles Morales, he's going to get his powers at an older age. And there can be that dynamic of, you know, Peter be like, when I got bit, I was a kid, you know, you're older. And perhaps that's a reason why his powers are different. I don't know. But I feel like if they go that route, they're going to be different.
Miles being young is the best thing about him. But we're talking about in film and the way that audiences work, you guys get tired of shit quickly. Like, seriously. Like, saw Uncle Ben die twice. Wouldn't like to see it again. Thanks. It's like, okay. Studio's like, all right, we won't do that again. Yeah. And they get really reactionary. It's crazy. So when I'm thinking, like, if they go, we're back to high school, Spider-Man movies are now falling into another slump where they do the same thing over and over again. Is it time for a reboot again? All these pieces coming out and people criticizing whatever. So yeah, Miles, though, I also do love him, how he plays a naive kid. Peter is a lot of that, and a lot of Miles' lore is already being mixed with Peter's. So I don't know. It's going to be an adaptation of the ages because it's hard to do. Now Ned is gone.
Right.
Ned is not Ned unless you're going to make Ned Harry. Okay.
And I thought that dude was going to be Harry. That dude that was on their team.
Oh, okay.
Guy that didn't even have a name.
Yeah.
like
no Harry at all. It makes sense. It makes sense.
Yet, you know, I think I really think that that this Spider-Man, at least what they should do, or what I would do. I would do, and they've compared it to Harry Potter. Harry Potter had 8 movies.
Mm-hmm.
What I would do, I would have it, and they're gonna have probably like 4 movies of him in high school, and 1 movie is gonna be summer break or whatever. But I would do it so that it's like Spider-Man getting out of high school, going through high school, getting out, and then going to college. And in college, it being like the comics where he meets all those people, even though, you know, he already met Mary Jane or whatever, Michelle. People were saying her name.
I'd also like, when we talk about Zendaya, I'm open to if their relationship has a bump, because in the Ultimate Spider-Man comics, there was a time where they were arguing and it was like Spider-Man stuff was getting too much for her. They broke up. And Spider-Man did, you know, explore different love interests, but eventually he went back. I'm open to that. I kind of like that too, because it shows, I don't know the exact word, but it shows kind of the strength of the relationship, because she broke up with him, but it wasn't like I'm giving you the cold shoulder. Like, of course it was awkward sometimes, but she still had his back. So I think that would be kind of interesting. If they want to shake it up a little bit and introduce some new people. Besides, I think they're not going to probably do a Gwen or they're not going to do Gwen again. They're going to go even newer with their love interests. So
with that, what's that girl's name?
He dated a cop once, right? What's her name?
A cop.
He's Dan Slott's run. I think he's dated a cop before.
That's not the one in the game, is it?
I don't think he dated. Did he date her?
I have no idea. I didn't even know.
I know that she is a part of his rogues gallery though.
Yeah, I didn't even know who she was. She's
her
like,
supporting cast.
She's like new.
Watanabe, she was in Dan Slott's run in 2014. She's like a cop that helps him out.
Yeah.
Do a quick Google search. Betty Brant is there.
Yeah, she's blonde.
Betty Brant is there. Carly Cooper. Yeah, there we go. I was right. Officer of NYPD's crime scene unit and an ex-best friend of Harry Osborn's ex-girlfriend. What is this? Are they giving me rumors? Hello?
Sounds familiar. Hold on. Let me.
Michelle Gonzalez is the one that everyone thought, oh, that's Michelle. My friends call me MJ.
And people are saying on Twitter, at least, and I don't know where this is coming from, but Spidey is saying it. He's saying that Michelle Jones is her name.
Okay, it doesn't matter. We all know what it means. Like, people are like, I don't think she's Mary Jane exactly. Dude, MJ. It's gonna be different, but the intentions are there, you know. Like, they didn't just throw MJ on her for the sake of it. Like, they know what they're doing. Do you
think there's
DeWolf, Gene DeWolf, another one, yeah. Michelle Jameson.
Gene DeWolf.
He has dated her. When did he
DeWolf?
Let me see when.
Oh snap! I didn't know that. He died.
Oh god.
That sucks. Dang. Wow, Carly Cooper.
She just returned recently in Spider-Man comics.
Really? I have.
She got resurrected as a clone and blah blah blah.
Oh, that's not okay. I don't like that.
Nobody likes Clone Saga stuff.
I don't like
Silver Sable. I don't know if she's much of a. What is Wikipedia doing? I don't know how much of a love interest Silver Sable was. I remember Silver Sable like flirting with him, and then Ice Cube is not confirmed as JJ. I don't see Ice Cube too much as JJ, but if they do Ice Cube as JJ, I'll have to see Ice Cube as JJ before I say anything.
If they do Ice Cube as JJ, man, I think that's
such a weird cat. But
mad people would definitely be mad.
Dude, look at this Zendaya hate.
Now, I was gonna ask you, do you think that they covered so they didn't say who she was because of the fact that she's black?
I don't think that's why.
Why do you? Or it was just
that's not the connection there, because there are way too many diverse personalities and people in here for it to be like another. I don't think that it was with that intent. No, I think it was more the intent of, guys, we're gonna hype this up for the end. Nobody knows who she is because they also know the audience, and they're like, "Why? Okay, so why is this girl here? Why is she getting the little bit of screen time that she's getting? Why is she featured in the marketing so much? She's Zendaya. Zendaya's a name. She's a big name
as a cast member after Marissa Tomei.
Yeah. Why is she in all the set pictures if she's not that important, huh? You know what I mean? So people get an idea. Like everybody looks at that little girl and said, "Freaking Gwen Stacy." She looks like a freshman compared to Peter Parker. I'm sorry.
Yes, she does.
I don't think that's not right.
She didn't look like no Betty Brant.
J.K. Simmons will never be topped. That's why they stay away from shit like that.
Nah. Listen, I think that the characters are bigger than the actors.
I do too, but again, it's like, you don't want anyone to do what someone else did because it leaves them open to being mimicked.
That's why you get
or compared.
It's a calm J. Jonah Jameson.
Well, if there's a calm J. Jonah, I'm gonna be a little pissed. J. Jonah should never be calm. This dude, will JJ still smoke? Does anyone still smoke in the Marvel universe?
In
MCU?
The MCU, they don't have any cigarettes.
Well, you also got to remember, J.K. Simmons. I actually read a recent Spidey comic. He's trying to quit smoking, so he has like a lollipop. And when he gets pissed, he bites it and spits it out, and gets a new one. That's actually pretty funny. I'm cool with he's trying to beat smoking thing. That's kind of funny.
The Bugle should be more like a BuzzFeed type news source.
I heard that, and it makes. You know what? I'm open to what Ultimate did, where he's not a photographer but a web designer. I'm cool with that.
Ooh, that is not funny. No, I'm
who said that?
No. I'm just a web designer.
Web designer. Yeah, he. I think they did that. They did that for the Avengers cartoon too. Not the new one, but the old one. They made him a web designer also. That's a fine one because when you think of it now, if you're a photographer, you're not taking pictures of Spider-Man. You're doing some artsy shit now. Yeah. You're taking pictures of the tundra and the Aurora Borealis and stuff. I don't bear of bad news, but he's not coming back. It would be illegal. Nope. If you've seen, just by them letting the guy who plays Thanos play someone else, Marvel and I think WB also is very open with their actors going and doing stuff different places.
Going with the Daily Bugle thing, one thing that I was hearing around was that it would be a TMZ style.
Yeah, Spidey said that on the cast.
Yeah, he said that the TMZ style.
The script is still not started, so I'm like, okay, it could have been something they threw around, but they threw around a lot of shit.
Spidey told us last year that it was revealed at the end that Michelle was Mary J.
Yeah, but he didn't say something like it was going to be in that film. He said like they're thinking of whatever, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, but a TMZ style Daily Bugle kind of makes it, and it's like they want to get the hero. I don't know. Doing
at the same time, I don't know. TMZ. I don't see like, Spider-Man.
Give me videos of Spider-Man. Like,
yeah, that'd be weird. It causes too much contrast too, because when someone tells you get a video of somebody, oh shit.
But I mean, that would be the thought. Like, what are the heroes doing? Like, I honestly I picture them like a scene in the movie, and they're like, it's like TMZ, and they're all standing around. Like, I got Black Widow.
That's correct. Oh, someone just said it. Claw smoked cigars in Age of Ultron. Okay, so they're not too against smoking. And didn't he still smoke in the Black Panther trailer or no?
I think
he might have, right? Okay, I know that Joe Quesada had. I think one of his family members died of cancer. Then he went around like Marvel. He was the chief chief creative officer of Marvel, and he was like no smoking in any of the comics anymore. And ever since then, they haven't used any smoking.
And it was. I remember reading an article talking about no smoking in any of the movies. But if he smoked in Age of Ultron,
I'm thinking about it. Yeah, he did because he had the what's that shit called where they put the smoke dust thing. He had a
thing, the ashtray.
An ashtray. Yeah, he had one, and he kept hitting it, and he was like, "You know what? I'm afraid of cuttlefish. Cuttlefish. They scary. And they, you know what I mean." So I'm thinking of that, and I'm like, "Okay, yeah, he did." That's why Wolverine doesn't smoke anymore. And in the comic books, nah. And Logan, he totally grabbed some cigars though. He robbed the place.
At all that the Fantastic Four are gonna come back.
I'll say I agree. I think I'm not sure if Spidey said it as well. If anyone is coming to the MCU from another place, especially after seeing the success of the Sony-Marvel deal, I mean, I say seeing anything could happen. All of these estimates could be false, but the critical success so far, Fantastic Four is the most likely. Fox seems they know they've messed up multiple times, and they're not too eager to jump back on the boat too quick. With X-Men, it's more of a, you guys didn't like this one? Suckers. Next one.
Well, last week there was an article that came out.
Oh, yeah, they did say, oh, we're going to make it very lighthearted, child-friendly. Yeah. Okay. We have enough.
What the hell is that? Like, you think we want to see a Fantastic Four movie from the perspective of their children? What?
Dad, you're always working. Show mom. Give mom some attention.
That's why mom's always gone.
She's always turning invisible in the house. That's not something I want to see, man.
That's stupid. Like, why would you do that?
I don't know. I think that's the only property from Fox where I'm like, okay, Marvel. Feige, I know you've already sent these helpful emails. Dude, go look it up. Look up Sony email leaks and read his emails.
I remember reading about it. He was talking
they
about
are hilarious.
How Peter's his story doesn't make him seem like a normal guy. It makes him seem special, like there was this prophecy or his destiny. And then talking about the story being disjointed and him providing suggestions for that. I remember that.
I got him up right here, and he says a lot of shit that I actually agree with. So here we go. Hey, Amy, there are too many storylines, and we need to choose which one we're focusing on and lift out the other ones. Could you cut out the plane crash and Richard destroying spiders and just start on the armored car? Can we let the danger and stakes build to New York City first and then have Spider-Man enter the scene? Mm-hmm. Next one. Can you tone down Paul Giamatti's performance? He seems a little cartoonish. Here's next one. Really love Electro. It feels like you may not need the scene in his apartment, which makes him seem completely crazy and hard to relate to. His next one. Tiny note. Don't think Peter would lie to Gwen about the sirens. Maybe he just downplayed it. Dude, these emails they're so nice, but you can see what he's saying. Like, you can just imagine the tone.
Yep.
It's hilarious. I can only imagine how he emails Fox. So, guys, saw X-Men Apocalypse. Just point out some things I saw. Dude, because he has to email, but I can't imagine. Is it passive aggressive? Is it like you're pandering? How do you email those guys?
He's definitely trying to help.
Because don't forget, before Feige did Marvel Studios, he had his hand all over every Marvel film.
Yeah. It was him, A.P. Arad. And he still has that producer credit on. Well, at least he did. I know he did on Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2. I don't know if he did on the X-Men movies after last day.
I don't know.
I got another phone call.
Okay, chat. I don't think me and Venom have ever talked about it, but holy crap, this X-Men Apocalypse kind of not my cup of tea. Kevin was all over those animated films too, like Hulk versus Planet Hulk. He has a credit on Spider-Man 2 and 3. Yeah, he's worked on a lot of the superhero films since did he work on Spider-Man 1? Since X-Men, I want to say.
What?
When Kevin started working on those films. I think X-Men, not Spider-Man 1, possibly. Or it could have been just since Spider-Man 1, I'm not sure.
I think it was X-Men. I think he said X-Men.
Damn, imagine if Feige was at Fox. Dude, I'd probably be on that train. The X-Men are dope. You know what? When they first started Marvel, remember, X-Men were the king of comics. X-Men were cooler than any Avenger.
Had that show.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
But you know,
that X-Men theme is still the most like recognizable. That's such a great theme.
Fox reboots, or do they continue from the First Class in the past? What do they do?
They don't know what they're doing. They don't know what like. I think Days of Future Past is just okay, and everyone will swear by that movie up and down. I don't care for that.
Okay.
Out of everything that I love of the X-Men, when you start running into the time traveling bullshit, it's bullshit in the comics and it's bullshit here. Like, it was never liked by any reader. It was so weird. It like throws you off. It gets confusing. It's like the Clone Saga times 2. That's why people got pissed at Dan Slott for writing another Clone Saga. Like, no one likes that stuff. It's confusing.
I had never read the Clone Saga. I remember watching the TV show, and then I didn't like it.
Yeah, so, it's weird.
I was like,
so weird.
What? Like, so, and then I remember people talking about the comics and the Clone Saga and how it was just trash. And I was like, well, I didn't like it in the show. So, yeah, I agree. It's trash.
Dude, that Clone Saga is weird. Okay, but you have to admit First Class is awesome. First Class is great. First Class is pretty good.
Sucks now.
The Amazing Spider-Man takes some of the credit that the 2002 film really deserves, like establishing the character for the first time.
What?
I don't think that the Amazing Spider-Man could ever take that credit. Spider-Man 1 was like revolutionary for the time. Same with X-Men. Even if you don't like those films anymore, you have to come to respect them because they're. And you know what? Here's another one. People will never give credit. Blade. Blade was another big heavy hitter in the comic book genre, film wise. Blade was doing some shit, man. I won't defend the films like it's gonna be amazing, like they're all amazing, but they were doing some shit, man.
They were. Now, this is something just because I just thought of it, and I've always had this thought, but I want to see what you think. Do you think that Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man or Peter Parker could come off a little bit like he could be a tad on the autistic spectrum?
Hello? What? Where does this come from? What?
I feel like Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man was a little autistic.
I don't know. I know that.
I'm not saying it like in a negative way.
Rewatching The Amazing Spider-Man like 3 or 4 times. That scene that everyone talks about where he makes fun of the car robber, that shit is so like out of place.
Yeah, it wasn't funny either. It was, and he was looking for his uncle's killer.
It's like in the original, like in the comic books, every adaptation is, I'm gonna kill that guy.
Yeah.
And he comes in, hey, don't steal cars, you stupid Webb. Oh, Webb, you're nuts. Oh, and I'm just like, I never noticed it until like the second view. I'm like, I don't think that's right. It's totally not. It's not right. And people always talk about that. And I'm like, that scene is just out of place and doesn't make sense. Here's another one. Hot take. Dropping hot takes. Okay. Civil War's airport sequence does not really fit in that movie.
The airport sequence did not fit.
I don't believe so. Tonally, no.
Elaborate a little bit.
The tone, the stakes are kind of gone there. You got to remember that before, what they're fighting for is somewhat still intact, but how they deal with that scene is very odd. Everyone is quipping and not in a I'm just being sarcastic as I fight you way, but like it's the Avengers spectacle. It doesn't fit because the tone that they're trying to set up. And also a lot of people, for some reason, they go by Marvel movies look ugly and they use that screenshot from Civil War. You got to remember that Civil War is trying to look very dour, and it's going for that thriller kind of Winter Soldier look. It doesn't fit. The quips, the tonally, it's out of place. There's a reason why a lot of people say they love the end, that emotional, gruesome, and very intimate fight between two friends. And there's also a reason why that first half of the movie feels so much weirder. No one's quipping when they're going for crossbones. We're not joking. Yeah, there can be the occasional, hey, I'm saying something sarcastic, or hey, this is how my character and nature is, so I'm going to say something funny. But during the airport scene, it is very apparent, and this is my only worry with the Russos that I hope gets fixed. They get lost in the spectacle. They get lost in making a scene that is so grandiose and genuinely, the best way to describe it, fun. It's a fun scene. If you watch that scene by itself without the context of the movie, you know, it stands on its own. But when you look at it in the sequel, let's just tackle the sequences. Sequence before that, the fight between Iron Man and Winter Soldier when he doesn't have his suit.
Right.
That matched its own. The fight with Black Panther and Winter Soldier, does that, you know, match the tone? The way it opens the movie doesn't match the tone. So that airport sequence, though, I think, and I only criticize things I love. That airport sequence shows that they know how to manage characters on the screen. It shows that they know how to manage large scale action scenes. But it lost the emotional weight and kind of what I think I started to now understand that criticism, because like these people are saying to me in the chat, most of the people quipping weren't invested in the main conflict. That's not how the picture was painted before. It was painted as if this is us versus us. It's an internal conflict within the Avengers group. So now when you're fighting, the core of the battle is to stop one side from getting to the other. But it's not very dour. It's not very impactful.
Right.
That's my thing. And I still think that Civil War is a solid, I'd even say good movie. But looking at that scene, and maybe it's because of the rewatches, but looking at the scene, I'm like, doesn't fit, man. It doesn't fit.
Do you think that that the Winter Soldier is a good film because of its tone?
No.
Or why do you think the Winter Soldier is a good film?
Not tone. People started to become a little bit fascinated with the tone of a movie more so than they ever have before. The Empire Strikes Back is not that good of a movie because of its tone.
Right.
The Avengers, if you think it's a good movie, it's not that good of a movie because of its tone. Spider-Man 2 is not that good of a movie because of its tone. There are so many other things that attribute to the good movie. Like the first Avenger to me is a good movie. I like what the filmmakers are going for, but it's not the tone that makes it a good movie. Of course, the tone is a way to characterize the film, but that does not equate to good movie or bad. And some people use it that way. Like they'll be like, and this is what they do to Zack Snyder a lot, which I always think is unfair. These movies are dark, that's why they're bad, and they won't expound upon it.
Yeah.
The Nolan movies are dark, but they're good to you. Saving Private Ryan is a very dark movie, but it's good to you. You know, tone isn't the thing that's definitive of what makes a good film or a bad film. So when people like Winter Soldier, I can see why people always move towards it, and it's not. I don't think tone, but again, just the filmmaking. When it's like, okay, we've now moved from what has become the norm in this, and our peers as films, and moved more serious, move more. The stakes are endlessly higher. Like, there's a reason why in the theater you freaking like hold your breath when Nick Fury is getting shot at. You know, the head of S.H.I.E.L.D. is considered dead. You know, and when someone is able to stop Captain America's shield, like, it's stuff like that that works. Like, Spider-Man: Homecoming is not good because of his tone. Like, we didn't mention the tone once in this entire discussion.
Nope.
And good night to everyone that's going to bed. I see they're saying good night to some people. But I think you'd agree. Like, tone has become one of those things where, like, it's become like a hot word, or a word that people use a lot because, and it's now started to respond to people in the wrong way. That's my big thing. It's just started to, like, people like, and here's another thing. A lot of people have a weird, they equate stakes to this person dies, that equals stakes. Like, when someone goes, no one in that Marvel movie is going to die, so what? You know? Like, when you read a comic book and you're reading like a big event, like you're reading Civil War or something, are you expecting everyone in there to die or something? No. It's the story. You're being told a great story. That's what it's about, you know? So, I mean, I don't know. I think there's a little bit of a misconception there. Maybe some people hate me for it, but I don't know.
Okay, so for Civil War, then your main thing is just that scene does not tonally fit with
yeah. The tone isn't what makes the film good, but when your film does have a certain tone, for example, the first Avenger is very much, it has that Indiana Jones kind of feel to it, and that's the tone. The problem with the Amazing Spider-Man 2 is its tone. They go to very dark places one hand, and then in the other hand they have it, oh, we're laughy, happy, the sun is nice, and it's beautiful outside, and Spider-Man swinging through buildings, and it's great, you know? That, and we just spoke on a scene in The Amazing Spider-Man, tonally, it doesn't fit. Why are you joking with the guy that you suspect of killing your uncle?
That's right.
Who would write that? You know what I mean? And it starts to be like, do you understand the tone? Do you understand the stakes? Stuff like that. That's all I'm saying. That's all stuff I'm talking about. The tone argument came around because Superman viciously killed Zod. He screamed out in agony after snapping his neck.
Yes, he did.
Just as a counter argument. I don't mean to be snarky.
Well, don't they? I don't know. I really.
Did you not think the same about that scene, or is it just a bad hot take?
For
the airport
Civil War.
Yeah.
I definitely think that it tonally is different from the entirety of the film. The one thing, like, and I've talked about this with you, and we've had streams, and I mentioned it. I have a huge problem with the Marvel Cinematic Universe because of the fact that it's this formulaic, like, jokey,
and you know what?
thing.
As a person that enjoys so many of those movies, there are movies where I will fault its humor sometimes.
Yeah,
like Ant-Man, I think is pretty by the books, and even though I think that the cast sometimes saves it, it's by the books, and I can't agree. I even though some movies I feel like I really do just that humor, like Spider-Man: Homecoming's humor was on point.
It never.
And even Iron Man 2 gets a laugh out of me. And people hate that movie to death. That when I see that guy, what's his name? Sam Rockwell. What's his name? Mr. Hammer, whatever his name is.
I know
that guy is hilarious. That little dude that's played by Sam Rockwell, he's a funny dude. Oh God, we're bringing Batman vs Superman in this chat. Venom, you gotta moderate the conversation.
But the so for me, like, Civil War, The Winter Soldier was so good because of the fact that, for me, this is why it was so good, because of the fact that the story was, when things were serious, and things got serious, and it was like, whoa, this is serious, and it makes sense. So Civil War for me, it was like things are serious. It's serious, but it was that at that scene, it was. That's when it became a, it's not really that deep. It's not really that deep until they had Rhodey fall out the sky, and then he was all right at the end of the movie. But it's not really that deep. Like, and that's what I kept getting from it. And I didn't get that from the first viewing, but I definitely did get the difference in the tonal shift with that scene to all the others.
I think a lot of Marvel movies do go serious and stay there. Like Iron Man 3, one of my favorite Marvel movie scenes is Iron Man 3 when his house gets blown up by the Mandarin. I think that's a really well done scene. When everything around him is crashing down and he's saving, the one thing that he can, not his suits, but, Pepper, stuff like that, where it gets started that. And it's like, this is not a joking matter anymore. It gets very serious, even though, when he does land and, it does get more comedic, but there are some movies where I think that they get serious and they kind of stay there. Winter Soldier, of course, one of them. Homecoming, when it got serious, it stayed there.
When it got serious, and I love
Guardians. When Guardians went dark.
Guardians 2?
Yeah, two.
Yeah, because I was about to say Guardians 1.
I don't like, you know what? I think Guardians 1 is okay. I think 2 blows it out of the water.
Oh yes. Oh yes.
That emotion in that moment where, and also James Gunn said his favorite film of DC's is Man of Steel, and you see it when he's like, "Sorry, I had to put that tumor in your mother," and he's like, "You killed my mom."
Yep.
Not only is it, of course, showing Gunn's love of Man of Steel, but it got serious and it stayed there. When Yondu dies, it goes serious and you feel for it, So I think Marvel is evolving in a way that I think it's only good for everyone. I think it's only good for everyone. The people that don't like the movies are even starting to like them. People that have stayed away from these movies are starting to like them. People that have kept up with these movies are seeing the change, and I think it's nice, man.
Yeah,
I'm definitely like this year, comic book movie wise. I know I'm gonna be having my socks blown off by Justice League and Thor, like at the end of the year. Like this is the year, if there's gonna be any, where a Thor movie is gonna come out, and I'm gonna be like, yeah, I expect to like it.
Well, I hope.
You got to check out that director's stuff, man. That director's amazing. You gotta check him out.
What's the director's name?
Taika Waititi.
Okay, I'm just gonna type in Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah, it's fine. He has a kind of weird name. I like Guardian Galaxy 2, but it was way too jokey. Yeah, some jokes didn't hit, but the sincerity of it was amazing, man.
Yeah, I thought they did a good job. We're gonna have to start wrapping up the stream because I do gotta wake up early. But before early, I mean, we kind of got to the DC thing, and maybe people know it, maybe not actually. But I like DC, and I have a lot of interest in the DC films.
Me as well.
I liked Man of Steel a lot.
Me too. I think Batman vs Superman is even better.
Batman vs Superman had some, some things in it that I enjoyed, some things that didn't make sense to me, but I mean, hey, I still enjoyed it a lot more than I think other people did. Oh, this guy directed The Hunt for the Wilder People. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, you watched that? You watched it?
No, I didn't see it yet, but I'm going to see that.
I love that movie.
Wow. Okay. Anyway, a little bit off topic. Have you heard of Man of Tomorrow? Did I tell you about that?
Man of Tomorrow. I think maybe
it's a fan edit of Man
of Steel and Batman vs Superman.
Yeah,
I would do a double feature works just as well. I don't really like when they mess with what the director cut.
Yeah,
I don't really like when they do that.
But it's so damn good. It is so good, man. Like, it is so good. Like
I've heard, but when you re-edit it, it's like,
I watched it just for fun.
It's it's now what you want to depict rather than what the director did. That's the only beef I have with that.
Yeah. I just watched it for fun, but
yeah, you told me about
it. Anyway, my point was, so I think, and I'm coming to terms with this, and I think it's because of my upbringing, but I think I am actually a pretty semi-big Superman fan.
I think that I'm gonna say this, and some people might start debating. Superman is the greatest superhero, but he's not my favorite one.
Okay, and I don't disagree with you.
My favorite superhero, and I think we're on the same. There's Spider-Man, but
and I don't disagree with you.
Superman is the greatest one. He's shown us the highs, the lows.
Yeah.
Everything about him is what has trickled off and sparked this superhero thing, man. So you gotta respect him. Like when people call him a Boy Scout, this, that, and third, you gotta pick up a Superman comic and read him yourself. Because I come from the lens of I only read Superman and Batman thought it was a tool, so I thought it was a tool. But when you read him, Superman, the greatest superhero, man.
Yeah. So this gets to my I have a few things that I kind of want to bring up. Number one, so there's some information coming out talking about the next Superman movie could potentially be a Superman Red.
A lot of misleading things with that too.
Really?
Did you hear the full story? Basically, no. The guy who directed Kong Skull Island pitched it. He was like, "Guys, I'd like to make this movie. What do you think?" They were like, "We'll think about it. See ya." So when the news got out by some scooper or someone in Hollywood that found out, he went out on Twitter and said, "Guys, I just went there and pitched it. That's it. Like nothing's really happening." Okay. You know. So a lot of people, of course, it made a lot of stories and stuff just for the sake of clicks, but that's not really where they're heading with man. Well, you got to watch Justice League and see where Superman ends.
Right.
No. For a lot of people, dislike or agree with whatever. In the films, Superman has been tried. He's been tested as hard as possible. His death is now leading to his rise, and it's inevitable. He's going to be the Superman that you want and that kind of we recognize. That's where I think this is heading. Just by looking at the Death of Superman story and things of that nature. Yeah, he's coming back, and he's been tested. He's been pushed to his limit. It's definitely time for him to come back gracefully.
Okay. Do you think that in the Justice League movie, when Superman comes back, do you think he's going to come back evil like that?
No, I don't know why people think that.
Well, I mean, it was in the Flash Forward in Batman v Superman.
Yeah, no. That's a different thing. And here's this. People keep forgetting, but Zack Snyder said it. He said that's going to be answered. All of that answered in Justice League. That entire vision will be explained.
You don't think so? Do you think that it is that was Justice League, or do you think
no? I think that it's a mix of two things. One, it's a reality that didn't happen yet. Because in the Flash, sometimes when he goes back in time, the people around him get ripples. And they start to get visions because that was a vision. If you remember when the Flash disappears, his papers goes everywhere. So like he wakes up, his head goes off of his desk, and then the papers go everywhere. Not the Flash leaves and then that happens. So it was a vision. But the question is, who gave him the vision? Why did he get a vision? Stuff like that. It's definitely something that has to be explained in Justice League, though. It's like Thor's vision in Age of Ultron. I can comment on it all I can, but until I see it manifest, it's like, kind of hard to comment on.
So do you think Flash goes back in time in Justice League, or?
I think that the reason why he went back in time, I think it's just things got too bad. I think that was the world that would exist if Batman continued going on the road he was. If he continued and battled Superman and all that stuff, guess what would have happened? Doomsday would have happened. Okay, sure, you guys killed him. But still, Martha would have died. Martha dying does what? And then who says Lois wasn't next? If Lois is next, then what?
Because
You're
that's
breaking.
what Flash says. He says Lois is the key.
Yeah, I mean, you're breaking down everything that Superman has. That's why in the movies, you know, Lois and Martha is kind of all he has, because he's being tested every time he does something. Every heroic action that he commits is being questioned.
Right.
So it's hard, you know. All you have is you know, your family in a way.
Huh. So, do you think that the next Spider-Man, what? The next Superman movie, is that going to be like Man of Steel 2, and is it going to be
we're not treading the same Zack Snyder ground
anymore. Is it a reboot?
No. They're not reboot. A lot of people
like a soft reboot, like with after Justice League or with Darkseid or whatever. Do they do a soft reboot where
not at all continuing? And then this time we're not getting as profound. There's no more. There's not a 9/11 allegory. We're not getting that deep anymore. We're taking the character, you know, to new heights, different adventures. Because in film, we still haven't seen Superman really go against some of his cosmic foes and stuff like that. So, you know, Brainiac, Bizarro, you know, stuff like that. I think that's where we're heading. Genuinely, like we're going to there. We're getting to that level of Superman where, you know, he's getting to the next step. Oh, here's another thing. Just notice this: Spider-Man never threw a punch in that movie.
And that's Tom Holland said that would be the case.
That would be the case, right? And you never notice it. What the hell?
I noticed it when it was one part in the movie where he pushed somebody. Mm-hmm. I think it was when he was grabbed by the Vulture and he was like pushing, and I was like, he's not hitting him.
Dude, so that's weird.
It was like the Spider-Man anime.
It was definitely cool though. It didn't feel out of place, if you know what I mean.
It did not.
So that's dope, man. I can't wait to see that movie again. We should definitely try to wrap this up. I know you got work in the morning or whatever. No,
it's not work. I'm going to an amusement park.
Oh, okay. You having fun in the morning?
Yeah,
okay.
Like,
you had responsibility.
I just had a month of intensive like training in Russia, and then I have I came back and started work at my radio station. Mm-hmm. And I've been getting things ready for that because Monday that starts crazy. That's going to be crazy. So I have tomorrow my day of fun. Mm-hmm. And yeah. Then it's back on the horse.
Thank you for again having me on here.
Thank you.
Spitting that Spider-Man Homecoming stuff, because man, I've definitely been dying to not only hear someone's different perspective on the film, but just talk about it. Thank all of you guys for watching.
Yeah.
All that stuff like that. Watts is interested in having Blade appear on the Spider-Man Homecoming sequel. Rights. Who has the rights? We don't know.
I think Marvel does have that.
They have it back. They got Daredevil and that back?
Yeah, I think Marvel has Blade.
Marvel's been making moves, low key, man.
Oh, yeah.
Marvel has been making something. They need to make sure Marvel Studios gets him and not entertainment, please.
Yeah, I think.
What you think? Wesley Snipes back, man?
Hell no.
Oh, no love.
No, they ain't. Hell, and like Wesley Snipes has been talking about it. Hell no, they're not getting that old man. If I could get like, if Michael B. Jordan wasn't in Black Panther, they would have got him. But
Blade, Michael B. Jordan, I don't know.
They would have got him. They would be like, okay, Michael B. Jordan is Blade, and everybody would be like, oh, cool. Now they gonna get probably
some guy.
I think of it. I will think of it. Who would they get?
They should add Tombstone or some shit, Punisher or something.
Oh man, I hope they do Tombstone.
I'm waiting for some. I like that. I love when Spider-Man deals with crime bosses and stuff. I don't know what's going on with that. I'm looking forward to see something like that.
I hope I wanted them to have him fight the mob, and I think they might do that. I definitely think that he's going to be in Manhattan in the sequel, though. I definitely think.
Yeah, he's probably going to overcome that fear because I think he's a little scared too.
Well, yeah, I mean, it was his first time, and it's like that's a part of it being an origin.
Let's get Morbius done. Morbius is such a
Oh God.
Every story I've read or watched on that TV show with him, I get freaked out. Like it's not even like I'm scared. It's just like it's such a weird. I don't know. Do you like Morbius and Spider-Man stuff?
I mean, it is weird. It's like
tonally it feels like there's this feeling of just I don't know. It's like when Batman fought a vampire in that show. I was off put.
It's and it's funny because I want to say it's not realistic. Like that's fantasy, but like we're talking about a man that climbs on walls and shoots.
Yeah, but at the same time, when you go down that hole, like this is what I hated about Spider-Verse. There are the people that suck the spider essence out of spiders via multiple dimensions, and they come for you. So then you're just like, what? Like Madam Web was weird enough. But she was cool, you know. Like
I don't understand her at all. I don't understand.
I don't understand. But it was like
you're like a spider fortune teller. I don't get it.
But it's like I'm like, this is weird. But you're Joan Lee, and I'm okay with it. Okay, I like your voice. You're pretty cool.
Yeah,
I thought he was gonna name the AI Madam Web. Did you think that?
No. Wow.
I thought he was gonna name it that.
Wow, that's. Wow.
You weren't one. You didn't think that, man?
No, that did not pop into my mind.
But with you saying that, I should probably give you a name. I was like,
why not? Why wouldn't they do that?
Madam Web would have been cool.
That's so dope. But then I guess it's like, then it's too much to say. I don't know.
I'm sad that Joan Lee died again because I would have totally been on board for her voicing it too.
Yeah.
Her redoing that voice again.
Yeah. And she was 93.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She was voice. That was a good voice. Did she? I think she did it for the games too. Like she came back for them.
Madam Web in games.
I think. Let me see. Madam Web voice actor and Web voice actor. I'm not sure if she voiced it in what's it called? Shattered Dimensions.
Oh. There was a Madam Web in that.
Madam Web. No, wasn't her. Okay. Suzanne Blankski.
I don't know anything about Madam Web. I know.
She's so weird and mystical. I don't really know much either.
Cassandra Webb. Yeah, I don't know.
Not really explained. I don't think it's ever been openly explained.
But there's on this on the wiki, she's there.
I don't know, man.
They have her all her information, which is strange.
Yeah, I'll definitely read that someday. Okay, so you can definitely finish up the screen. Yeah. I don't want to hold you too late.
Yeah, no problem, man. Thank you so much for man. We got to come back. I want to have a discussion about like a full discussion, like maybe when some more information comes out. But I want to have a full discussion about like everything, like Spider-Man PS4. You know, now we're in a different state than we were last year.
Crap, man, we didn't even speak. Damn, I forgot all about that, dude.
Not, but I mean, we still can. And maybe next week or a few days, we can get a whole bunch of people together and we just talk about, because my opinion is
has it changed? Has it changed for the better?
A little bit.
Yeah, I mean
a little bit. You know, it looks nice. Yeah, I'm not.
You know what? Did you hear that developer clap back? Somebody was like, "Stop with the QuickTime events," and he was like, "This is for show."
Yeah,
it's like the only time we did it. I'm like, "Oh, okay, developer. All right."
For me though, the QuickTime events weren't even like. I was like,
yeah, that's kind of again a staple of Spider-Man games. And you know, if you notice when you watch the footage, they're bringing back a lot of the stuff that we liked. At least I know I did. These are like gameplay elements from the bad and the good movies that I liked. I mean, from the good games that I liked.
I feel like they did change a few things though. Like with the web swinging to me the camera angle looks a bit different than it did from the first trailer. But then again, the first trailer that wasn't necessarily gameplay. So
yeah.
But
you know what? That it's definitely very Uncharted-esque, and I'm happy for it. Like that scene where he's running through the office. I'm like, I can't imagine playing that. And there's going to be even more of that stuff in the game too.
Yeah.
My only question is, how are you going to balance Uncharted-like moments with the scope of a Spider-Man game? Because Uncharted lets you free roam, right? But it's never so vast as New York City itself.
Right. And they said that they're going to be, where was my phone ringing?
But the fact that they didn't even want to release it with the Spider-Man movie, that shocked me.
Yeah, that shocked me too.
I was like, I thought that shows some integrity developing wise.
But for me though, the game still looks like Amazing Spider-Man.
Not visual, not art style wise.
To me, it's like an updated Amazing Spider-Man. And I'm not saying that in a negative way. I'm just making a statement. Like that's what it
much more to that kind of much more polishing.
Yeah, much more polished.
We're not even done.
Much more.
We're years, like a year out, and they still put in 10 times more work.
Yeah, but it looks so similar, especially like with
but I think that's kind of what they're going for.
Environment, not just the environment. What they call it? You
thought the environment looked like it?
No. You can use like things in the environment during fights.
I love that.
No, I'm not saying this is a bad thing.
Okay.
I'm just saying
it's just like it.
Amazing Spider-Man, because Amazing Spider-Man did it as well. And Amazing Spider-Man isn't the first Spider-Man game to do this, it's the first Spider-Man game to do it in that way. And they're borrowing that. And to me, this game looks so far like a polished Amazing Spider-Man.
You know what? To that, I think I wrote it in the comments, and to mine, that's a pretty good sentence I wrote in your comments. It's definitely the amalgamation of every Spider-Man game.
Yeah, your comment was excellent.
I think that is the perfect, and you know what? That's not bad. I think that they're in a spot, and they're probably looking from not only a developing standpoint, but community response. There are so many Spider-Man games.
Mm-hmm.
Everything has been done for the most part.
I disagree, but okay.
Not in the span of, because again, they're giving us a cinematic experience we've never gotten before. When I mean everything has been done, I'm talking about how our fan base likes to move, the animations that our fan base is comfortable with, the gameplay elements that have worked, gameplay elements that don't kind of get thrown out. Like, for example, the environmental stuff looks much more useful in this one comparatively, because the other ones you just grab a garbage can and throw it at people.
Yeah,
or garbage bin and smash it. But in this one, it's actually a little more strategic. Like, okay, this guy's walking here. I'm going to go ahead and hit him with this hammer. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. So, I mean, the web swinging I think the environment looked beautiful.
Yeah, the environment looks really nice.
The web swinging, a lot of people are like, is there physics here? And I'm like, you got to remember, gameplay demo, guys. They're trying to show as much as possible.
Now the web swinging, it still to me looks like he's floating.
No, it's physics based.
No, I'm not saying.
Did you watch the breakdown they did? Look that up, man.
Because Insomniac, they confirmed it was physics based way before E3.
Yeah.
But to me, it looks like he's floating. Like when he web swings, there's a point when
you know what I think they're doing. Remember in like a Spider-Man game when you don't press forward?
But instead of him but it just, the swinging to me should look like Homecoming is the perfect example how it looked. He was weight. He is Spider-Man. He's a person. He's mad. You gotta
talk to someone that played it at E3 because they let the demo. You could, right. You know. So you gotta remember for that.
No, they didn't let anybody play it. They
didn't let anybody play it, but you could watch them.
Right.
So I think that in that gameplay they weren't pressing forward. It was like they were just pressing the button to swing, but not pressing, because when you're showing a gameplay demo, you're trying to show as much as possible. So like when you're playing a shooter, now you're walking around every environment, even though he'd be usually sprinting or something. Right. You know what I mean? So stuff like that. So I think we do gotta if someone was at E3, I'd love to ask them, hey, how did the swinging really look to you? Mm-hmm. to wait for more. I think next year is going to be dope just because we're going to see so much more. And out of everything, I can say that the story looks like it's going to be amazing. What do you think?
I am curious and I'm eager to see more. I don't have too much of an opinion though.
Okay.
I'm just more so like
you're on guard, man. It makes sense.
I guess I still am. I guess I still am. I'm not letting myself get excited, but I definitely was not disappointed from that gameplay. I was like, yeah, and I watched it live.
Me too, man.
And it was crazy because it was 3 a.m. and I had class that day, but I woke up to watch it, and I'm watching it, and I'm like, all right, this is not bad. Like, and it was not bad. It was not bad. So I'm definitely looking forward to more information and seeing more from it. I'm really just kind of, I guess I'm on guard. I want to see if the story is going to be quick or if it'll be long. They said that they've got a lot of characters in it, so I'm assuming.
I think so because they're advertising Mr. Negative, but they said that's not the main villain.
I'm
like, what?
The main villain is going to be Osborn.
I'm thinking so too.
It's going to be Goblin, but that's fine. I don't have a problem with that. Cool. But I want to see more. I definitely want to see more. I want to see some of the side missions. I want to see more. I mean, I'm getting the game as of right now. I'm getting it because I'm not disappointed. But I'm not like there. People were making a whole bunch of videos and asking me to make videos, like talking about, hey, talk about the story. What do you think is going to happen in the story? And I don't really care
stuff like that because, like, dude, there's not. Well, Spider-Man has taken down Kingpin.
Can't knock the people for because, like, I used to do stuff. I used to make videos.
Yeah, I get the hype, but sometimes, sometimes they don't get
a genuine, like, for me, a genuine hunger and a eagerness of, oh, I can't wait for this, like a hypeness. And I'm not hyped for this game. Like, I'm not hyped.
I'm definitely very excited to get it on my hands, man. I think it's going to be a great time.
Right. I hope it will be.
I think that definitely, especially just the approach of, we're not going to release it with Homecoming. That alone, I think, tells you at least the liberties that Sony as publishers and Insomniac as developers are taking, because every Spider-Man developer that has worked on a Spider-Man game found a way to get that goddamn game out by the time the movie was. So for this one developer to come along and be like, yeah, see you next year. It's like, whoa. And the game looks good for freaking a year out.
Yeah. So,
I mean, I'm trying to imagine this game at a different point. Like, it feels crazy because when you look at this game, it looks like, all right, I can get that on my hands like today, right? But no.
Can I be one person to say this, and then we'll end it?
Yeah.
I cannot stand when, like, companies, like, show or reveal or announce something, and then it's like, I can't talk about that. I hate that so much. It
sucks as a fan, but you get it business-wise.
I mean, I get it business-wise, but look, you
got this radio show coming, man. When it gets big, people are gonna start asking you for stuff. You're gonna be like, I can't talk about it.
But like, for instance, like Rockstar, right? They announce these games. They announce Grand Theft Auto 5, and then, like, say next week there's a trailer, and then they're silent for a year. Why didn't you just wait until you were ready to show stuff? Then, like, why?
Yeah, I definitely agree that there was a big pause.
If Spider-Man PS4 was announced in 2018 and they said it's coming out this year, and here's the information.
Well, they don't do that. They don't do that anymore. Sorry, that's over.
That's what I want.
But
like,
it's the hype. It's marketing wise. They've seen statistically that it works better to be like next year, and then people are like, oh my god, now we have to wait. Blah blah blah. You dominate social media. You're always going to be talked about, and then it builds up to that time. That's why these movies do it, man. These movies do it all. Oh well, we are announcing a Moon Knight movie. Goodbye. Yeah. We have nothing. We have nothing else. Converse.
Wait a minute. Like, so is Moon Knight going to be in it? I mean, I can't really talk about that right now. Sorry. It's like
that is, we do not know yet. Sorry.
Yeah. I don't know. It's like, what? Like,
who's Spider-Man? Well, we don't know that yet.
Well, that's just like I was watching the interviews for Spider-Man PS4 and they're now Marvel Spider-Man, because everything is Marvel Spider-Man now. We've got Marvel Spider-Man.
What focus group came up with this?
I don't understand. Why are you naming so many? You have 2 Marvel Spider-Man properties right now. Like,
Mom, get me Marvel Spider-Man. What?
Like
the DVD season 1 is out, right?
but like, I'm just watching interviews and they asked about side missions, and they were like, "Yeah, we can't really talk about that right now, but we're more so just focusing, on the story." I was like, "Oh, the story. Well, then, so we see that you have Mr. Negative. What other villains can we expect?" Well, right now we're just talking about Mr. Negative. He's a great villain, and he's connected to Peter Parker. And so, so you get to play as Peter Parker. How exactly does that gameplay work? Well, right now, we're just focusing on. It's like, what? Oh, come on, come on.
Yeah, man, it's politics.
Come on,
politics.
But whatever. That's it. That's it.
Yeah, that is it, man. But I don't know how many people are still here, but thank all of you for watching.
Yeah, thanks everybody for watching. Thank you, Shock, for joining me. We definitely got to do something again. And we can do it on your channel. We can do it wherever. I don't care. I have.
E3 is coming up. It's getting busy.
Yeah,
I mean, Comic-Con. Comic-Con's coming up.
Comic-Con is coming. So
the channel. Everyone's channel is gonna be busy, man.
Yeah. So we'll figure something out. We will figure something out. But I want to thank everybody for watching. Make sure you check out Shock's channel. I'm gonna put his channel in the description, and subscribe to him. Hit the like button on this video. Subscribe to me if you're new. Video to me. Thank you all for watching. Hit that like button. Why did I say that again? I don't know why I said that. I don't know. I'm just tired. Peace, guys. Have a good one. Peace out.